Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. Ben and Woods. It's 97.3 The Fan. And glad to be here with you on a Thursday morning, fresh off of a really sick three-game series against the Colorado Rockies. Padres lose 8-0 yesterday. And, just get the sweep completed on them at home. Not our best day, not our best week, certainly. But we will be here for you for 4 or 5 hours today to talk Padres baseball for you. Quite the gauntlet, as it were. But really appreciate you guys watching us on YouTube. You're already in the chat, talking ass. I love it. Not going to bother us today. What do you say? I mean, what do you say about this team right now? We will come up with some things, that's for sure. I'm Woodsy. That is Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Benjamin, the gauntlet is upon us today.
I've cracking my knuckles, just like ready to dive in and, plow right through this. 4 hours then, plus another hour with the round table. I'm good to go. I'm okay. We're going to make it through this, and we're going to have an interesting show, an interesting round table, and I assume there will be some emotions. There'll be some pain that we have to kind of suffer through, but we'll make it through on the other end.
Did you? Do you want to talk about your additional gauntlet today? Because I've got the full gauntlet as well. We do morning show, round table, and then I drive straight to marriage counseling.
Oh.
That's a gauntlet.
It's a lot of me talking about my feelings. A lot. That's a gauntlet.
My gauntlet is similar, except after the round table, I'm not going to marriage counseling. I'm going to be a guest on Foul Territory with A.J. Przinsky and Trevor May today.
So good. I love
Talking a little Padres
MLB
baseball.
Network.
Yeah, the big guy on MLB Network.
Get
Really?
the call up to varsity over
Out
here.
of the blue, I had just done my 6 o'clock sportscast last night.
Yep.
I got a text from Mark. I assume Mark got my number from some sort of guide and
Are you in a guide?
Media guide somewhere.
Okay.
I guess
too.
Guess it's still Woods is
I'm in
it
there?
as well. So
Well,
I don't want to be in there.
and
Take
he
me out of
said,
there.
I can't do that.
"Hi Ben, are you available to join Foul Territory tomorrow at 11:20 a.m. Pacific time? We've got AJ Przinsky, Trevor May hosting. Mark.
That's so
Mark with a
sick.
C.
Now, we've talked to Trevor May on this program
We have.
before. He was great. He does a blog, and is he still doing the blog? I was getting updates. I don't think I've gotten any updates from him recently, but he's really, really cool, really funny dude. He gets it,
Fun,
Pierzynski,
smart.
I've never been the world's biggest fan of at all, but it's all right, man. They called the big guy up, and they want to talk Padres baseball. I'm so glad. That's so cool, dude. MLB Network.
Yeah, I mean,
That's badass.
It's exciting. I think for me, it would have been better. Padres are on a hot streak. Let's
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about how well this team is playing. I don't know that I'm the best choice to talk about a team that is struggling the last few days. I don't even know if that's what they really want to talk about, or if they're more like, hey, Padres are playing well. Let's pick someone later in the week to talk Padres baseball, and it just kind of flipped on them because that's how baseball works. Things can flip on you rather quickly over the course of a couple of days.
Why
Can
is this
I-
guy all sunshine and rainbows?
All right, I have a proposal for you. Give me your glasses. I'll give you mine. You go to my marriage counseling. I'll jump on with Trevor May and AJ Przinsky. And you go sit in there and talk about your feelings and whatnot and why you're a terrible communicator.
Would you want me to talk with Hannah,
go-
or should I bring Shelley?
No, you go as me. You're my
Yes.
proxy.
Yeah,
Like
but it's
you
marriage
go and talk
counseling.
about what Hannah does that bothers you.
I assume you.
Yes.
Okay.
No, yeah. You're my proxy.
I'm totally you, so I'm just
You're
acting
me.
as though I'm you.
And you sit in there and say, whatever it is that is bothering me. And I'll get on there and go, these guys are terrible. They got no heart. They're gutless. The managers and all the stuff that they want to hear. You go sit in there. Now, you do there's a book that she gave us to read. It's called Hold Me Tight. And it's a decent read, right? But we discussed that book. But the assignments have been like, all right, read part 1. Part 1's like 114 pages. And I'm like, lady, I got 2 kids. I got 2 small kids that need constant care. I'm coaching. I got a morning show. I got to watch games. I don't have the time to read 114 pages.
We come here so you fix us in the the hour that we talk to you, not so we can go home and do a bunch of homework.
That's the thing. Is like, Did I sign up for a summer reading course?
That's like going to a golf lesson, though, and expecting to be better instantly when it's over. That's not how it works. Like, you go to a lesson, they tell you what to work on, what to practice. And then if you actually put in the work, you'll be better a week later when you come back for your next lesson. But if you just go to the lesson and then you don't work on it at the range or anything, when you come back to the lesson next week, you're going to be just as bad or worse than you were before.
So rather than couples therapy or marriage counseling, it should be called couples lessons.
Couples lessons, and then
how about the book report?
You practice. You practice during the week, and then you come back, and hopefully you've made some progress. Sailor
Liver says Woods' favorite books are coloring books. Buddy, I was an English major. I've read more books, and I love to read. What I don't want to read is I don't really like the self-help books. And again, I'm reading in this book about. I'm not joking when I say this. The Office fans out there will understand it. In part 2, I start reading about a couple named Pam and Jim. I'm not joking. I'm reading this going, are they doing a bit on me? Pam says that blah, blah, blah. And Jim just can't get it together. And I'm dying going, I walked out. I go, did you see it's Jim and Pam? And Hannah started laughing. So
what happens, though, if you go to marriage counseling and, like, if I'm in for you and I go, I'm perfectly happy with everything that's happening right now. Would it just be over, or would then Hannah just have all the time in the world to
you're
say
gonna
what's
give
wrong?
her the whole 50 minutes to rip me. No, you got to work through it in there. But it is. You do the round table, you get done, then you got the drive to Encinitas, and then you walk in, and you're like, God, I'm tired of talking. I really just am tired, and I'm so tired of talking. But and Hannah's not a good reader, so she's been listening to it on tape while she tries to work out in the morning, and she's listening to Jim says Pam never listens, and Pam says Jim's insane, and so she's like trying to run on the treadmill. So
you've got marriage counseling today after the round table, but if that wasn't happening, would you be jealous, Ben?
No, hell no, dude. Because I don't know. I wouldn't want that. I would. You're the polished pro. I don't get. You guys know this. I don't get jealous. I don't get envious. I'm happy because I think ultimately that's good for us. If Ben's on there, that's good for us. Ben from Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
I'll admit, when I saw that text,
Woods from Ben and Woods is also beneficial to us if he's on the show.
He's the better choice. I also know that. He's the better choice.
I don't know that that's true. You're very entertaining. You would have done a great job. My first instinct, though, was to say no. I don't want to do that. That's a very long morning.
Really?
Yeah. I was like,
that's MLB Network.
I
bro.
know. But my first instinct was they don't need me. They probably should have asked Woods. And then I thought, all right, I'm not gonna. You know who you should really ask? I don't want to be that guy that tries to program their show for them. Right. And then I thought, this would be stupid if I said no. I am available. It's right after the round table. I can just stay here, set it up. I can be on. It's fine. So I said, yeah, I will absolutely do that. So
I think that's so badass.
It's good for the show, good promotion. We're always looking for new YouTube streamers. Maybe someone will pick us up across the country.
And Rafa says, they're going to announce him as Ben from 10 News San Diego. Yeah. Now that will piss me off. I will tell you that right now.
Will you wear a Ben and Woods shirt?
A T-shirt?
Yeah, you probably can't wear a T-shirt. They do, though. It's very like, hey, my hat's on backwards. We can do what we want. Right?
How are you going to brand yourself, Ben? Let's get to that.
It's a good question.
We have extra Ben and Wood shirts here.
We do.
Now, I do think they're all do the show bitch, so I don't know that
I don't think I should wear that. I bet we have a network television.
The I like.
We have that one?
I think so.
Oh, that would be epic. He's branding his own bit. That would be so good. No, I'm so excited.
Ben doesn't buy merch from our own merch
true.
store.
That's true.
I was like, what? You don't have a T-shirt?
I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for us because that's good. And now, listen, you know how my mind works. It's content. Like tomorrow, we get to play that.
No game today. I'm like, we are playing that whole MFing thing.
I can't wait. I'm happy for you.
Coming up at 6:35, the Ben appears on Foul Territory Wrap-Up, brought to you by Hamul Casino.
That's exactly right, dude. That's exactly right. No, I'm very excited for you, and that's a cool thing. I remember once I got asked to do, it's when the Padres had beaten the Dodgers. And our buddy John Marks called me, and we were on our way to play the Phillies, and John Marks was in Philly. And he called me, and he's like, hey, man, can you jump on after? It was right after we won that thing. And I go, yeah, dude, I can jump on. It was like midnight in Philly or something, or 1 in the morning. And I remember pacing around my kitchen and be like, all right, bro, you're about to be on Philly sports radio. You got to bring the heat. You got to bring the heat. I was nervous as hell. So you're the right choice for this, man. And I'm excited.
Bad Boy Ben wears his do the show bitch and Ask Pro Shops hats on MLB Network.
Oh my God.
The Ask Pro Shop
And
hat
the gold chain.
and the gold chain would be so
I've got my
elite.
explicit hat still out in the car.
Yeah,
I could bring
perfect.
that one out.
I love that he keeps it in the car.
Hannah says wear the GIMP mask.
Wear the mask. I mean, hey, listen, the GIMP mask is a bit, it's like kind of, it's not a torture device, but it is in that vein.
Sensory deprivation.
Sensory deprivation. And I would say right now, if you're a San Diego Padres fan, you're in the torture chamber. Firmly. You're firmly implanted in the torture chamber. We're all in that thing with our hand, the stock, where our hands are
in
through
the head,
the
head in the middle hole.
and we're just hanging there. That's where we all are. You just got swept by the Rockies.
Local children pelt eggs at us or something. Well,
we're in the stocks, dude. Just everyone. You should do stock night out at Gallagher Square. Come take your picture in the stocks. That's where we are. You just got swept by the Rockies, man. By the Rockies. They got you in your house. So, yeah, not a lot to say really about yesterday's game, but I do want to, and I tweeted this last night, and you can believe me or not, I don't care. I had to go coach T-ball last night. So I had to go school pickup, or Hannah picked him up, came home, we went straight to the field at 3:15. So the game wasn't even over yet when I left, but it was 7-0. I was like, well, how much worse can it get? Got one more run worse. So we go, we have a great time, great game. Kids played hard, so much fun. Hung out for a long time afterwards. The kids had they had won a Chick-fil-A party, so somebody brought Chick-fil-A and they just crushed chicken sandwiches and nuggets and
you
ice
didn't?
cream. I didn't touch one
Really?
thing. Yeah, I was not hungry. I just wasn't feeling hungry. So I watched them eat. We hung out, went home, and I opened Twitter and my texts for the first time, like 50 texts. And my mentions went nuts. And I was like, what the hell happened? And I'm like, oh my God, Shilt's presser. And I go, what? So I immediately texted you guys
Hey, my dudes, how you doing?
who had texted me and said, we need something funny tomorrow. And I said, well, I haven't heard the Shildt presser yet. And I'm not going to. So let me just react live. And Paulie goes, perfect. That'll be great. So I haven't heard it. I heard it was terrible. I can't wait to hear it, react in real time. We're not going to play clips, right? We're just going to play the
I'm
thing.
going to play the whole
It'll be like our
thing.
Bob Dylan day when we played Bob Dylan's Murder Most Foul in its entirety.
Don't go into it with a preconceived notion.
It's hard not to. I saw so many tweets about it.
It certainly is something that inspired a lot of opinions and discussions.
It's 11 and a half minutes.
Among
I say
Padres
we play
fans.
the whole thing.
Done. We got nothing else to
straight.
do. Got nothing else to do.
Like, I don't even want to do Padres wrap-up, but do you guys really want to hear how
I have no
all
interest.
8 runs?
I have no interest in reliving that game.
Are they
yesterday.
sponsored?
Why, yes. I mean, Padres wrap-up, of course, sponsored by Humboldt Casino with thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards. Humboldt Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Humboldt Casino, fun above all else.
There it is. I have no desire in playing a wrap-up of an 8-0 drubbing at the hands of the Colorado Rockies.
We don't learn much from that.
Not a damn thing. I mean, I watched most of the game and then I had to leave, but what I saw was ugly as hell.
Yeah.
Ugly as hell. So we'll talk about that, and Benny will set the menu for us next.
There you go.
We did get a chance to sit down with Dylan Cease, which was cool. I saw Jake Cronenworth bare butt yesterday. Bare. As the day he was born.
I missed that whole thing.
You did?
Yeah. What were you doing? Well,
I was over there.
Paulie and I were
I was
talking
over
with
there
other
talking
people.
to him. I saw it. I didn't take any pictures or anything. I did see his butt.
You're weird. All right. We will get
know that.
started. It is it's a Thursday. It's a roundtable Thursday. We will be back after a check of traffic with Kelly Danick, Ben Woods, Paul with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Woods mentioned he's an English major in the first segment. And today's theme of the roundtable, at least, we can get into it as well, was a quote you said yesterday that kind of stuck with me all day long. That usually doesn't happen for me, but Woods was quoting Kierkegaard.
Kierkegaard, yeah.
Soren Kierkegaard.
Yep.
And you said...
A Danish philosopher.
Life can only be understood backwards.
Yep.
But it must be lived forward.
Correct. God, it's brilliant.
And it kind of got in my head. It was very, I think it was very appropriate to following a baseball team as well.
It's so important in life. It's so important in baseball. And I read it. I was reading some the other night, and I thought to myself, wow, this is it's pretty deep, when you think about it, in relationships, in friendships, in business. I mean, really, truly, read it one more time.
Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards.
That's it. Right there. So I think it's a really good way to look at a baseball season.
I think there's a lot there as well that you can look at that and say, well, perspective is important, that you can only get through experience, through going through, successes and failures by living through it and then looking backwards. But it doesn't necessarily always help you going forwards because every new situation you face is going to be a little bit different. So you can also, describe that, live in the moment, take each day as it comes because you can only live forwards. There's a lot of different ways I think you can look at that statement.
Yeah, for me, what I did was don't look back and wish you could change anything, but use everything that's happened before to either grow and make sure you don't make the same mistakes, right? And so that's kind of it. Really makes sense and hits in the baseball season, right? And if you're a manager, certainly.
So here's where I'm getting to. My question that I'm going to ask everyone in the roundtable, and I'll ask you now. When we look backwards to understand the Padres 2024 season, months from now, however it turns out, will this Rocky series and sweep be a pivotal and defining moment, or will it be more of a blip during an otherwise strong time of play for the Padres, offense and defense, in which that was funny. You're playing really well in May, and then they had that one bad series against the Rockies. Turned out it didn't mean anything. Or will we look back and go, we should have seen the signs coming? As we look backwards and saw that Rockies series, that really was a pivotal, defining moment for the 2024 Padres.
There's only one group that falls on. There's only one group that can answer that, and that's the San Diego Padres 26-man roster. I heard Craig say, I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before, you can't make the playoffs if you lose to the Colorado Rockies. And I get what he's trying to say, because I kind of said the same thing. You need to win these games. That being said, you absolutely can make the playoffs. You absolutely can make the playoffs getting swept by the Rockies. It's absolutely possible that you do that. And like you just said, the blip on the radar. There's only 26 guys that can answer that question. It's up to them now. And again, I like the metaphor of the hole that you've dug. You can dig yourself out of a hole, absolutely. But the deeper and deeper it gets, the harder it gets. So they've made things so much harder on themselves this season than they've needed to. They really have. And again, 2 of 3 would have been great. Hell, yes, winning 1 yesterday, as much as it would have been frustrating, you almost had to have that one yesterday. But you know what, man? There's a buttload of games left, but it's on them to dig themselves out. So I don't know that you can answer that question today. I hope to God we're not looking back and going, freaking Rocky series cost us a playoff spot.
And in reality, they could have built themselves a nice hill as opposed to digging themselves a hole. They haven't really dug any hole that they have to climb out of, but they could have built themselves a nice little hill.
That's true.
They could be up there with the leaders in the National League. They could clearly have separated themselves from some of the other teams in the National League with some good play, especially against the Rockies this series. But instead, they've left themselves just in a big pile with every other team, with the Diamondbacks, with the Giants, with the Reds, with the Pirates, with the Nationals, with all the other also-rans who are currently thinking, yeah, we've got a long way to go. If we start playing well now, There's plenty of time left to turn it around. But now the Padres are just one of those teams. You'd much rather be the Cubs or the Phillies or the Braves and go, all right, we've really got ourselves off to a nice start. We can weather a bad week or two in the future because we've played so well early in the season. Padres definitely are not one of those teams with what they've done, 2 games under 500 at this point.
And now, though, what you have a fan base that's questioning your heart. They're questioning your care. They're questioning themselves for going out and shelling out money to go to games. I saw a lot of that, man. I paid this or I paid this to go out and watch this team win. Now, you're not guaranteed to win, but you should be guaranteed some effort. You should be guaranteed some effort, and when you get just rocked by the Rockies for 3 games in a row, then they never led in that series. Never. They never led a game. That's you cannot have that. And so now hold, separate, all that stuff's great. But when you have apathy setting in, when you have the fan base looking at the teams, asking them, hey, has apathy set in for you guys in mid-May? Because if it has, that's a problem.
Here's a question. This homestand that was just completed. If the Padres had been swept by the Dodgers and then took 2 of 3 from the Rockies, would we feel any different? Because the record would be exactly the same.
That's a good question.
Would we feel any different about this team at all? Would we feel better? Would we feel worse?
No, I think we feel better. And you know why? Because we beat the team we were supposed to beat.
I was thinking the same thing.
Is it not better to show that you can beat the best teams?
Going into that homestand, what's more likely? Getting swept by the Dodgers or getting swept by the Rockies?
It's much more likely to get swept by the Dodgers and then take 2 of 3 from the Rockies.
You accept that, I guess. Or at least you accept that easier.
But in a way, isn't it better to show you can play really well against the Dodgers?
It's one way to look at it.
And then you can just kind of erase in your mind a bad series against the Rockies. Like, we know we can beat the Rockies. We didn't, but we theoretically know we can because we've beaten much better teams. We've beaten the Cubs, we've beaten the Dodgers, we've beaten the Brewers, we've beaten the Reds. We can beat teams that we know are better than the Rockies.
I think that's
why can't we beat the Rockies?
But I think the point is we beat the Dodgers. We should kick the crap out of the Rockies. And clearly baseball does not work that way. I would like to go back. I should have done this last night, but it was coaching T-ball is very tiring. I want to go back and look at the last 10 World Series winners and look for some anomalies and weird things that happened in there.
They'll all have them.
They'll all have those weird, like, we got swept by the awful Royals at the time. No offense to Kathy. She's a big Royals fan. She gets mad at me every time we talk bad about the Royals. I'm just using them as an example. There have been a lot of teams. Hell, the Padres could be one of those teams that a World Series team got swept by on their way to a championship.
Yeah, I don't think we're arguing that we think this Padres team's currently a World Series favorite.
Not at all. Not at all. But I think that you will find those awful stretches
all
in every
30 teams have them.
Yeah,
every single
all
year.
Have them.
They have. The Dodgers have already been swept by the Nationals this year. Don't think that their season's over, of course. But the odds are that when you lose more games to bad teams, that you are a bad team. You're definitely adding to you're adding to the evidence, the pile of evidence that you're not a good team.
Correct.
Padres added a whole big pile of evidence
3 games
over the last 3 days that they're not that good of a team. They also and Mike Shildt, I think, and when we play the audio next, you're gonna hear him go. We've also added a nice big pile of evidence that we are a pretty good team with the series that we played before that. And if you're simply dismissing those series and only focusing on the Rockies, then you're kind of making Mike Shilt's point.
Yeah, you kind of are.
Every series is important. Every series is equal. You can't simply say the only one that matters are the last 3 games against the Rockies, and that means this is the worst team in baseball.
Yeah.
You also can't completely ignore them, which I think is what is frustrating people. Like, Mike Shildt would love to just throw that one right out the window and move on. And as a team, they kind of have to.
Sure.
But as fans, we can include that is part of our analysis now of who the San Diego Padres are. And they are a team that is now capable of getting swept at home by the Colorado Rockies. That's not a good thing. We can also, though, fairly say they're a team that's capable of taking 5 out of 8 from the Dodgers so far, of winning series against, consistently winning series against playoff contenders. Those are all data points now that we have to evaluate the San Diego Padres. We're going to do that. Woodsy, though, I'm very excited about getting the raw reaction from Woods to a press conference that even I sat up and took some notice. Like, all right, he is digging in on his points that aren't necessarily wrong, but they're not going to please people. They weren't fan servicey points. They were definitely, let's just sweep this one under the rug and minimize it as much as possible. We'll get into that coming up next. It is a Throwback Thursday. Paulie's found one of our oldest clips that he has in our archives.
Like it.
From our first weeks of our show. Play that at 7 before a little real or fake. Chance to qualify for Las Vegas today. Don't do this. We have our Dylan Cease interview that we went down and recorded before the game yesterday. It was nice to get to meet him for the first time, really.
Nice fella.
After we missed him at spring training. Obviously, he wasn't there yet when we arrived. So it was good to get to talk to Dylan Cease. We'll have that in our 7:30 segment. It is at Eno Sarris Thursday. Our Smart Baseball interview comes up at 8:35 this morning. Ryan will report. And then we will get into the roundtable at 10 o'clock this morning. So a very busy morning of 97.3 The Fan activity and Padres talk coming up. Let's take a quick timeout. We'll come back, and Woodsy will get to hear the entire magnum opus of post-game Mike Shildt press conference from yesterday next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on Ben and Woods is brought to you by Prize Picks. Join the biggest moments in sports with Prize Picks. Pick your players, pick your stats, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. We're going to bring you some audio from the postgame. We're not playing the highlights or lowlights of the game yesterday. They really were almost no highlights. 4 singles on offense. Nothing really good happened in the game yesterday.
No. But if we did play you those highlights, they'd be brought to you by Humboldt Casino.
Thank you, Paulie.
Fun above all else.
That's right.
If you want a brief, just my own brief take quickly, I thought Michael King's comments after the game about how he was a little slow to adjust and realize the Rockies were trying to attack every first pitch. When he faced the Dodgers, and he was so good on Friday, Dodgers, very patient, got ahead, 0-1, 0-1, was throwing strikes early in the count. The Rockies, to their credit, they go, you see what he did to the Dodgers? He was getting ahead of everybody. We're swinging first pitch. And when Ruben Niebla came out, I think, to visit in the 3rd inning, Michael said, Ruben told me, they're swinging at like an unbelievable rate. They're swinging at so many pitches. So you got to now treat 0-0 like it's 0-2. Like, nibble a little bit off the zone, get him to swing. And after that, he actually pitched quite well going forward, but he was too late to make the adjustment. They were already down 5-0 at that point because he was trying to get ahead. And as he admitted, his breaking ball was not as sharp as it was against the Dodgers. Other pitches were good.
I saw a couple sinkers that
were
moving,
good, but he was trying to get that first strike in there like he was against the Dodgers. So, all right, we're going to check traffic, and then we'll hear what Mike Shildt had to say and get Woodsy's raw first-time reaction to it right after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Looking pretty quiet on the roads for the most part. There is one problem south on 5 past Washington Street. 2-vehicle accident in the center divide. Keep in mind, today is Bike Anywhere Day. I guess it used to be Bike to Work Day, but it's Bike Anywhere Day. You're going to see a lot more bicyclists on the road. Hopefully a lot less cars. So whether you're in a car or on a bike, please be extra alert, extra careful out there. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And you can just tell from the very beginning he had really good rhythm. He was able to throw all his pitches for quality strikes.
This is Gomber.
Controlled counts. He was putting the ball where he wanted to, and I thought he threw the ball very well and did a nice job when they were able to get the lead to keep us at bay. So, give him credit.
You say they just beat you, but I mean, this is a team that took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers over the weekend. Like, what does it say about the group that you weren't able to at least pull one out today?
I think I just explained it. I don't know how much more to explain it. I mean, I don't know what you want me to, how you want me to answer that. We won 4 series in a row, and we just came in. We walked 4 guys in 3 games, and this team swung the bats and found holes and hit some homers. And I don't know what else to tell you.
How do you keep it, Mike, from going from being outplayed for 3 days to it becoming 4 and so on?
Well, again, I'm going to take exception with the word outplayed. We lost 3 games, and I'm going to repeat it because I think it clearly needs to be repeated. Look, I'm not defending the fact we lost 3 games. I'm not even alibiing that for a second. I own that. I'll take the responsibility if you want, but I can sit here and it's a different answer to your questions of the game of baseball. We lost 3 games, and then we lost 3 games by beating ourselves and getting outplayed. Now, they played very well, okay? They did. But you look at some of the things that determine how you play and whether you beat yourself, the things that I've been following this thing for 30 years.
Oh, boy.
It just didn't work out for us for 3 days. I can't explain that.
Pause.
Am I happy about it? Is that clubhouse happy about it? Are we going to alibi anything? No, we're not going to.
Pause. How do you watch how you pitched, how you didn't hit, how you missed bases, like on tag-ups and stuff, and say you didn't get outplayed? I'll say this, too. I feel like we got out-strategized like crazy. I mean, we all heard about how Cal Quantrill completely changed the way he was going to pitch. We just heard how the Rockies changed their approach against Michael King. I think we got out-strategized for 3 games in a row by Bud Black and the Colorado Rockies. They came in and they had a plan based on tendencies that you've exhibited. And they said, let's flip what we've been doing to then see if we can put some pressure on you. They stole bags off you at will. You had terrible base running in this series. I mean, going yesterday. I mean, a perfect example. You had your superstars like Manny didn't show up at all. I mean, at all. Like one hit. That you got outplayed, man. It's okay to say it too. Like, I think it's very okay to say we got outplayed. We sucked. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mike Shildt doesn't seem to think it's okay to say that.
I don't know why. I'd be the first person to tell you I sucked today. I was terrible. I apologize. I'll be better tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion.
Now, there are games in baseball where you play fine.
Right, and they didn't, though.
And you lose.
I thought
the first two games of the series were kind of, they played well enough to win. They didn't get the holes. They hit a lot of line drives at people. Yesterday was awful. Yesterday was a terrible game.
The first two games, though, they were playing from behind from the get-go. From the get-go. And it's because they didn't execute in situations where you could have driven in runs, productive outs, things like that. Ran the bases better.
The thing that the Padres have done, I mean, really the thing that they really do badly, because they make contact at the plate. They don't strike out a lot. But when they're playing poorly, they're just not making solid contact. They're not hitting well. And I get when Mike Shildt says that is going to happen in baseball. You're going to take a good swing.
Yes.
Manny's going to hit one. You can't just live by the results every day of where that baseball is flying off the bat and landing on the field. And in some ways, part of the Rockies series did have a lot of that, where soft hit balls by the Rockies were landing in, hard hit balls by the Padres were not. So that to me is fair. But,
But that can't be the excuse for getting swept to the right. Well, we hit some balls hard. Just right at guys.
Okay, he'll address some of it. The reporters will continue to press him.
No,
here.
we're not going to alibi anything. But I'm also going to look at this thing rationally and go, okay, how did you win 4 series in a row? And you do some of the very exact same things. You don't give anything away. You don't walk anybody. You play clean defense. You compete well. You have good at-bats. And the guy threw well today. Like, we've had some good pitching in the past. Sometimes you tip your hat. Came up short 2 days in a row.
Oh, I did.
So I do appreciate that we didn't lose, but I will have to, and not even blindly, because people I think can accuse me of that, defend what we're doing. But, they played good baseball. They found some holes. But I think I've attempted to clear up the distinction of what just happened here, because there's not an overreaction from me moving forward. Now, if we're throwing the balls all over the place and hitting guys and walking guys and, not hitting balls in the barrel and not having an approach, you'd hear something different out of my mouth, but that wasn't the case for me.
And not to overplay either one of them, but early in yesterday's game and early in today's game, when maybe it could have affected something, Jurickson ran into an out. Today, Toddy had an out where that could have been prevented.
Mm-hmm.
Or those aren't clean, and so I wonder, did you just feel like they didn't?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you want to go back to the series for the first and third, we showed highlights today of the 3 positive baseball plays that were first and thirds. Had them edited for our ball talk. Jackson stole it back. We could double steal the first night, and I bring all those things up again, not to alibi, but yes. Jackson got thrown out of second base yesterday. He did. And we'd preferred it not to have happened.
That's the hardest he's been.
And Toddy missed retouching the base. That's clear, and I can't alibi that either. Did it impact all 3 games? I didn't think so. I think your point is we didn't play perfectly clean, and that's accurate.
Is something that can be improved is the consistency of, because you guys have played these excellent stretches, be that 1 game, be that 3 games, whatever, and then be that situational hitting, because that wasn't great this series. Can your guys' consistency be better?
Again, it's interesting that we don't talk about the consistency when we win 4 series in a row for the first time in 3 years.
But we do. We do. Stop.
Again,
Stop. We absolutely do. We absolutely do. Kevin does. I do. You do. Paulie does. Elo does. Tony Gwynn Jr. does. Jesse Agler does. Mudd does. We do. We do. But no one is infallible to criticism, especially after, you just got bodied. You had 27 innings in which you never led. Is that a fact? Is that right?
Yes.
You never led. You never led.
Against a team that opened the year on a major league record streak of never leading in a game for 27 straight games that they didn't have a single lead in any of those games or something.
For me, it's
or
like,
they trailed at least at one time in all of those games, but they never trailed against the Padres.
We talk about how it's easier for the players to flush a game or a series and move on to the next. They have to. And we've heard that from players. That's how it works. And it's a lot easier for them to do it than us as fans.
Yeah.
But this doesn't sound like they're flushing. It sounds like they only flush it when it's bad. When it's good, it's like we can't just keep going back to we won 4 series in a row.
It's a great point.
Well, it's okay. That was great then. It's bad now.
Like me telling my wife, but I took the garbage out in March like a few times.
Right.
She's like, "Where was April? Where was May? Where you been?
What are you doing for me now?"
Where is it? But I did. You don't remember?
We don't talk about when I took the garbage out 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, never want to bring that up. I remember that one time I did the dishes. Remember that? It's just that to me is a little bit of blind optimism. And I'll say this: this is a somewhat spicy take. Toxic positivity is still toxic, just like toxic negativity. I've got people on my timeline that are literally, like, they may be fine humans, but it's the most toxic BS I read every single day about every single play. But the toxic positivity is still toxic. That to me, when I hear this, it makes my eyes glaze over, and I go, "Are we watching the same thing?" Because you can't tell me that the sky's blue, that it's not blue, and I'm looking at it going, "It's blue. We got outplayed." It's okay to say that. No, I feel like fans in general always want the truth. They don't really want to be bright-sided in that scenario.
I think, just my opinion, that Mike Shildt, and there are unreasonable baseball fans out there.
There absolutely are.
And there's some of them in this audience right now.
They're all in my DMs and
who can't
all over.
stand, even the thought of one loss is like too much to bear.
End of the world.
And that's not how baseball works. But I think Mike Shildt needs to he needs to treat us all like we're adults and grown-ups.
That's it, right
Even
there.
if some of us aren't, he needs to treat us all like we are. And we understand that they won 4 straight series, and they've played some good baseball this year.
We talked and celebrated every single guttural scream every time you win a game.
I think in return, we also have to accept the fact that players can be trying, and it doesn't work out sometimes. Doesn't mean that you're a big nobody if you go 0 for 4 in a game and ground into 4, 2 double plays.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean Manny has forgotten how to play baseball.
Correct.
Or he's not grinding to try to figure it out. We have to also accept that as fans and be reasonable about things. And then on the other hand, I think the team and the manager needs to treat us fans as though we do understand the difference between good play
and bad play
and not good play.
Well, and Paulie, Paulie, is a very, very astute point you make. You just want us to flush the bad ones, and no, you want us to not flush the good ones because they're done. Those wins, you've stacked a few wins, sure, and there are times I watch this team and go, "We're lucky to win this many games." Then there's times I watch this team and I go, "We should be winning a lot more games because you're so inconsistent."
We've got a little bit more for you when we come back.
We got a lot more.
And then we'll
halfway.
play a little real or fake as well when we come back to start hour number 2 of Ben and Woods. Don't go anywhere. Listening to San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, we're going through the post-game Mike Shildt press conference after yesterday's 8-0 loss to the Colorado Rockies. Padres lose 3 straight. Woodsy has not heard any of this, so he's reacting live on the air the first time. And I think your reactions have been pretty spot on here so far.
And I'm seeing some people saying, well, listen, obviously he's not going to dress his team down in public, which, hey, man, by the way, I got no problem with that. I didn't really... Like the Ron Washington audio is a good parallel. We played it yesterday where he's like, not my fault. It's his fault. He didn't get the bunt down. I don't really dig that at all. They talked to Chris Rose and Trevor Plouffe addressed that as well. And Trevor said, yeah, I didn't really like that either as a former player. Like, that's not something that you do and say. That being said, you don't have to dress your players down in a press conference like yesterday, but you can say, you absolutely can. And really, let's be honest, you should say, we sucked. We sucked. That was terrible, and we got a lot to work on. And we're going to work on it. You can bet your ass we're going to work on it. There is nothing wrong with that. And if you're a player in the locker room and you hear Shilt's presser when he goes, we were terrible this series. We sucked. Are you mad? Are you mad? You don't have our backs. No, hell no.
Devil's advocate. If the manager goes like, oh, we were terrible, we get a lot to work on, and I'm a player, and I've been working my butt off, and I just can't get a hit, but I've been in there grinding in the cage.
It should not bother you.
Do you not want to hear a manager go, he just made it sound like we haven't been working on this stuff. I've been working on this stuff for months, and yeah, I'm struggling right now, but don't imply that I'm not working hard.
Maybe the hard work part, or maybe the work on stuff part is, but you can absolutely come in and say, we got bodied, I got outmanaged, we got outplayed. And listen, we didn't take advantage of 11 walks in one game or whatever. How many did they walk this series? 14 or something?
Yeah, Padres 21 got 21 walks.
21 walks,
I think, in the series.
Right. And so we did some good stuff there. We worked some counts, but man, I will also agree that we didn't get the big hit when we needed. And we have to do that. We got to do better. But you cannot come in here and say that you didn't get outplayed if you didn't lead a ball game in the series. 3 games. You did not have a one-run lead. I think it's okay to say we got to pitch better, we got to hit better, and we got to run the bases better.
I think the right way to put it, and we'll get back to the audio here, is that we lost, we got outplayed. It's not good enough. But I didn't see anything necessarily that I need to worry about long term.
Yeah, fine.
With this team.
Absolutely.
The process was still good. We just need to execute better, in the end and finish off these opportunities. Is that fair? I think that's kind of where Mike Shilt's trying to go, and he's not totally getting there.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit more from Mike Shildt with Woodsy reacting to his first listening of the post-game press conference.
It's interesting that we don't talk about the consistency when we win 4 series in a row for the first time in 3 years. So I just, and again, I've got to defend what I know also. I also look up, and we look at our 2-week report relative to the consistency of the year, and we're a top 10 in almost every base running and offensive metric there is, okay? And I look at it closely. If we were in the bottom third of our base running or the bottom third of our situational hitting or even in the middle of the pack, I'd say, yeah, that's not consistent. But if you look at it over a period of time and you look at relative to the league, and you realize that you're a top 5 to 8, depending on the metrics you want to follow from the base running standpoint, and the defensive standpoint, and the offensive standpoint, then you'd say, yeah. And we look at that consistency. We're striving for consistency all the time. I don't think I know we're a better version of our club in general as we've gotten better. All right, so if that was the case, and I looked at our 2-week trends and saw that we weren't improving in some of the base running and offensive categories relative to some of the areas, then yeah, I'd say we need to be more consistent. But I'm a big picture guy, and I do recognize that the last 3 games we came up short. But in fact, the matter is we got behind and couldn't scratch and claw. So I'm trying to separate what's consistent and what's not. But I think those are reasonable questions, and hopefully I gave you a reasonable answer.
Michael King has been really good. He really hasn't had the in-between starts where he's just been okay enough. I mean, what did you see out of him today? And why can't we get that more, like, stop the bleeding?
Yeah, he wasn't as crisp today. I think he's clearly thrown the ball exceptionally well the last several times out. Got a pitch to Doyle that looked like it maybe cost the middle, and he made him pay for it. And Beck, wrapped one down the line, and wasn't able to hold off guys after that. But I thought he found his rhythm after that ball down the line, and went out and got a clean fourth and struck out 4 in a row, and could have easily gone out and pushed him to get a little bit more in the 6th, but leadoff guy got on, gets Montero striking out. Felt like, okay, relative to the score, relative to the pitch count, but in a tighter situation, Michael would have kept pitching because he was getting better as the game went. But he got some mistakes and they made him pay. I mean, they swung the bats well and found.
After the Dodgers series, are you surprised at all about the amount of booing in this series throughout the whole 3 games?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, I expect to win every series, whether we just got through playing, bingo along the traveling all-stars or, whoever we play. And I don't mean to be overly facetious, but, a little levity maybe. But, yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, the sky's not falling in our clubhouse. I can tell you that. I appreciate and understand the questions. I think I've been able to explain and support, and all I know is our clubhouse is in a good spot. The sky's not falling. We didn't appreciate, didn't enjoy, or disappointed all of the frustration that is real with losing because it's an in-game result. I get it, but I also appreciate the fact that our team's going in a good direction in a lot of areas, and we've just got to be able to put it together with our pitching and our hitting to be able to put together some more wins and more series wins like we've done more recently.
And Mike, I know you're hearing sky is falling questions from us here in the media, but when you hear the boo birds out there at a home game, which we heard more than once today, does that send a different message as opposed to just hearing it from us in here?
Yeah, it sends a message. I mean, listen, people show up and want to win. I get it. I'll answer for it. It's interesting how, a couple days, changes the complexity of how people react. And I get it. I mean, we're here to compete and win games. And ultimately, I'm not going to alibi it. But you tell me, what do you think message they're sending me and us?
Not happy with the offense. Not happy with the Rockies coming in as one of the worst teams in baseball and 3 straight games in a row.
Yeah, I get it. I understand it. I understand it completely.
The upcoming road trip and Joe Musgrove, do you in
terms of where you guys are at, games like this where you're down early and you're starting pitchers who have been excellent at times but had games like this, where does this fall into the explanation of kind of the fact that you guys haven't been able to kind of get on a roll?
That part we can talk about the consistency, right? I mean, we've been really good with our starting pitching, and the only thing is this, big baseball secret. You have good starting pitching, it helps and protects your bullpen, and it gives you a better chance to win games. And so we've been able to do that in areas, and we haven't been able to be as consistent in other areas, and here we are. So I think that's the best I can do with that question.
Mike, acknowledging what you said about playing clean games and that sort of thing despite the results, now going to Atlanta, do you feel there's anything you can do or the team can do better or differently to change the ultimate results, or is it just hoping that some of these breaks go in your favor?
Yeah, I don't know how much more to answer these questions. I appreciate them questions. Like,
just looking forward.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward too. I guess I live in a different place in a sense of I'm not alibiing the last 3 games. I don't know how else to explain it. Like,
I guess what I'm saying is there anything you can do differently to change?
Yeah, I understand the question. I get it. I don't know what. Yeah, we could score first. We could. I mean, there's not going to be a new Rockney speech. We won 4 series in a row, all against good teams.
The 4 series bit. Holy cow!
We didn't play as well.
5 references.
It is.
We'd like for the outcome. I don't know how to really answer that question any better than that because I think I've tried multiple times.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've tried multiple times.
Let me boil down 11 minutes for you. Mike Shildt thinks the process is fine. Didn't like the results this week, but don't expect any big changes going forward. Thinks that in the big picture, the team still headed in the right direction, and that series was an anomaly that even he can't really explain. That's his take on it. Now, you can have a completely different take, and you could say, I don't think that this team is going to be okay. I think that series is a huge red flag of potential struggles that are coming in the horizon. I guess we'll find out over the next couple of weeks whether Mike Shildt is right and the team is still going in a decent direction and he likes what he's got, or that the Rockies series was a very important milestone. And only, as Kierkegaard says, you can only understand life backwards, but you can live it going forward.
Yeah, you don't have a choice, and you got a game and a
but
series.
But hey, we won 4 series.
But they did win 4 series. Yeah, it's. There's a couple things too. I mean, I looked yesterday and I thought to myself, I don't care if Austin Gomber's on the mound. I don't care if Chris Sale's on the mound. I don't care if Clayton Kershaw's on the mound. Luis Arraez needs to be in the lineup. He hits 277 off of lefties. Period. Like, he's got to be in there. He's not a platoon player, in my opinion.
So who would you have taken out yesterday?
I mean, if Manny needs a day, then sit Manny. If you want to get Solano in there.
You take a righty out of...
If you want to get...
You take Manny out against a lefty. He is traditionally... If you're ever going to get Manny going, it feels like you'd get him going against a lefty. He's been better against lefties his whole career.
He was horrible yesterday.
He was.
And he did say the day before, I'm not going to make an excuse about my elbow, but my elbow is... messing with my swing. Great day if you want Solano in, who got a couple knocks.
I agree with you. I think I would rather have seen Arraez in there. If you're going to give a guy off the day off, it's probably Jake, who's been one of your better players, obviously. Yeah. But you could play Arraez at first and sit Jake. Donovan Solano went 2 for 3 and walked. He was the only guy who had anything offensive. So getting Solano into the lineup that wasn't the problem. That was not the problem. The question is, who do you take out instead of Arraez to get Solano into the lineup?
Ta-Sung Kim, give him a day. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of you can't.
The baseball book
benefits
would say
of having 12 infielders.
Yes, but the baseball book would say you shouldn't be taking out your righties who traditionally crush lefties against a lefty. They're all sitting like, I need to get going. Finally, I'm getting a chance against a lefty. And you're taking me out of the lineup. You're only going to throw me You're only going to play me against the tough righties. And then when a lefty comes in where I can mash, you're going to put Solano in instead of me.
Why did you get Luis Arraez?
For
what?
He's not a
platoon player. He's not. He never has.
I think the only answer is if you want to get Arraez in, you have to take Jake out in that situation.
Okay, probably.
And I'm okay with that
probably
too.
Needs a day.
I'm okay with that too.
I mean,
Jake did get a day earlier this week. That would have been a second one off. But
What we can't do is come in here and talk about how flexible and how many tools he has to play with, and then go, well, but these guys got to play every day. I mean, look, Luis Arraez should be in the lineup. Also, Jackson Merrill should be in the lineup. I know he's a rookie, and I know you want to be careful with him. But he has proven he can play every day.
Talk about consistent ABs.
I don't disagree either. But now you're saying, okay, so Azokar never plays.
He's a bench player, which is what guys off the bench do.
But most managers will say if you just never play your bench players, then they're useless.
Well, that being said,
you have to get them into games occasionally.
You've just lost 2 games to the Rockies. You need a win. Luis Arraez is in there as a 277 lifetime career hitter who is a spark plug. He's going to be in there. Then I'll stack it with righties after that. And we'll go from there. But Luis Arraez is not a platoon guy, in my opinion. And I'm not the only one with that opinion. That's just who he is. So does he need so many days off? I don't think he does. I don't think he does. He's an everyday player. And I think, again, against a 90-mile-an-hour throwing Austin Gomber, I want Luis Arraez in there. And I want him leading off that game. And I think we're better served with Profar down in the lineup to maybe do some damage with some guys on, and it doesn't make sense to me at all. I don't think you got him to be a platoon player. And I don't really care about Sugar's playing time. I need Sugar to play the defensive, be the defensive wizard that he is. I need Tyler Wade to come in and swipe a bag or score from second on a single. Those guys are bench pieces. They shouldn't be getting 2, 3, 4 days in the lineup with Luis Ariz sitting there.
Yeah,
in
no,
my opinion.
I want Ariz in there on a daily basis, even against lefties. I do. I just see the argument that taking out Manny or even taking out Ha-Seong Kim doesn't make a lot of sense against a left-hander. Both guys always have their most success against lefties. Tatis has his most success against lefties. Xander has more success against lefties. He's been heating up. It's a tough choice as to who you're going to take out to put in Ariz for, unless it's Jake.
I mean, look at Luis Ariz. Since 21, Benny, he played 121 games. He was injured, I think, with the Twins. 144 the next year, 147 the year after that. That's a guy that needs to be in there. And again, he can hit lefties. It's not something where it's like he cannot be a strict platoon player against.
I don't think he will be going forward.
I hope not. I really, really hope not. But yeah, I think. I don't know, man. I want my best lineup out there, especially when I'm trying to salvage a game. I really do. And Jackson Merrill is a part of that. He puts together some of the best ABs on the team, right now. And I just it just doesn't make sense to me.
All right, let's push back Real or Fake into later this hour. We can pair it with our Dylan Cease interview, or our Cease interview was not going to take our entire bottom half of the hour. So we'll do that in just a couple of minutes. Don't Do This is coming up next. We'll get to DDT, then Real or Fake as we move on, and then Dylan Cease, our conversation with the Padres. Undisputed ace of the staff so far this year, coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Oh, no, wait. Don't Do This is brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sereno Valley. Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com. We love Valvoline Instant Oil Change. I'm not a huge fan of their tacos. The tacos are better at the Craft Taco.
And have you ever gotten your oil changed at
I have
Craft
not
Taco?
at Craft Taco.
I wouldn't be surprised if they could do that
You
for
don't
you as
want
well.
to. You don't want to interchange those two sponsors. Definitely different demographics there. All right,
I do go to a car wash sometimes that has really good tacos.
That's true.
I like that one. They do a great job there. I get my car washed and I
Get your tacos.
suck down some tacos.
All right, I will start Don't Do This from a WBA women's title fight over the weekend. Happened in Perth, Australia. Nothing unusual. Chernica Johnson against Nina Hughes. Went 10 rounds. There were no knockouts or TKOs, so it went to the old decision. That's when things went a little off the rails. So you've got the two fighters standing in the ring. You've got the referee who's in the middle holding each other's hands.
Yeah.
You know how it works. And then when they announce the winner, you raise the hand of the winner, and they get to celebrate. So it's Joe Tessitore is the play-by-play guy. They go to the ring announcer, whose name is Dan Hennessy, to announce the winner, and that's when the chaos starts.
Judge Keatley scores the competition 96-94, and Judge Nakamura scores the competition 98-92 for your winner by majority decision, and still the WBA Women's Bantamweight World Champion, Nina Hughes.
Nice.
A one-sided scorecard of 98-92 favors Nina Hughes and pulls a majority decision to go to 7-0 and retain her world championship on a night where Chernica Johnson seemed like she was in control down the stretch and had a 167-133 connect advantage. And by the way, Nakamura, who had that 98-92 scorecard, will be the referee for Lomachenko.
95-95. Keatley scores the competition 96-94. Nakamura 98-92 for your winner by majority. Fighting out of the blue corner.
What?
Is this guy for real?
Wait.
Is this
just switch
guy
the winner on you.
Lieutenant Dan Hennessy for real?
He switched it.
Yeah, he read the wrong winner, and then had to go back and just do it all over again, get them all to the back to the ring.
Fighters, back to the ring!
Oh, no.
Tessitore called him
no.
out. He's getting dragged so much that, in fact, yesterday Dan Hennessy announced he is retiring for good. He said, "I'm not going to be the world's punching bag anymore.
Oh, my God.
I love and will keep touch with all my friends around the world, but thank you, I'm out."
Oh, my God.
Well, in that case, I'm also not going to be the punching bag of San Diego anymore. I am
You're out.
retiring. That's it for me. Means I get out of the round table.
I mean, you literally, you know the old expression, you've got one job.
Yeah.
You've got, as ring announcer, literally, you have one job, and that is to announce the correct
name
winner of the fight at the end of the fight. It can't be that complicated. They give you a card with the scores,
read it,
and the winner, and you read it. And somehow he messed it up.
Oh, dude. I'm not going to be
Then
the
again,
world's punching
They
bag.
messed up the Best Picture Oscar a
They
few
did.
years
They
ago.
did. You know, they had to do a umpires challenge the other day because all of the umpires forgot to count in the middle of a baseball game. So, I mean, this is attention to detail. Mine is pretty vanilla here as far as Don't Do This, but the show is getting pretty vanilla. Hard Knocks, I really used to enjoy years ago. We talk about it every year. And then when I saw the team that they are going to be featuring this year, I realized it's the biggest media market in the world. I couldn't care less about the New York Giants and the Hard Knocks offseason with the New York Giants. And that's going to be the team this year, Ben. You're going to a lot of Daniel Jones material. NFL Film senior exec Ross Ketover said, "We are incredibly proud that Hard Knocks is widely thought of as one of the most successful and entertaining unscripted sports franchises ever produced. To be able to expand with an elite franchise in the Giants as they celebrate their 100th season is a privilege for all of us at NFL Films." They were 6-11 last year. They lost Saquon Barkley.
But this isn't Hard Knocks.
No, this is the Hard Knocks
This is off season. There's no football. There's going to be no football.
It's going to be
like the GM sitting in his office, making moves or something.
Yes, dude. Mini camps, the combine, and the draft.
Hard Knocks, as it was fine. Preseason training camp and all that.
This is one of those things where NFL says you need more.
I even liked their in-season edition that they've done the last couple of years. This just seems completely unnecessary.
I mean, will we see like players on vacation during their time off during Hard Knocks?
It's so boring, man.
Too much.
So boring.
Too much. All right, finally for a do this.
DD Mega Do.
We're also going to do a little Throwback Thursday. We're going back to early 2021 when actor Christopher McDonald, Shooter McGavin, appeared on our show. And here's what he had to say about the potential of a future Happy Gilmore 2.
Here's the thing. Ready? I'm on Dan Patrick with Sandler, who's a good pal of Dan Patrick's. And Patrick put him on this thing like, dude, are we going to see it Happy Gilmore 2, the senior tour? And Adam never wanted to make a sequel. He says, I don't do sequels. I said, Adam, but why can't I work with you on something? You're a great dude. We have a lot of laughs together. He goes, dude, you're always going to be the shooter. I said, yeah, but I can do 100 different things. Look at my resume. I've done all kinds of different things. And he said, he finally Patrick got him to go, yeah, it's greenlit. So we may see it or we may not. I don't know. I'm praying that we do because wouldn't that be funny?
You would
on
like
the
to
senior tour?
You would like to bring that character back because I think it's one of those rare exceptions where, sometimes you see a movie and you're like, it's perfect as it is. But I think that dynamic, I think it would actually be really well done. And you get the same kind of people involved in it. And I think that would be genius. So you'd be into it if they wrote it and the script was good. You guys would do it.
Oh, definitely. I'm double thumbs.
Thumbs up.
That was 3 years ago. After 3 years of rumors and rumbles, yesterday, it finally happened. Netflix made the official announcement on their Twitter account. Happy Gilmore is back. Adam Sandler will reprise his iconic role in a brand new movie coming to Netflix. They are in production, and Happy Gilmore 2, or whatever the title is going to be, and I'm assuming that Shooter McGavin will be back as well.
Oh, yeah.
The senior tour
is coming to Netflix, so it is absolutely happening.
Adam Sandler also posted a video clip of him on the golf course yesterday.
Okay. It's been 25 years since I've done this.
Stepping back to the tee, getting ready for the patented Happy Gilmore running swing.
This is for you.
Shooter, this is for you. And he
smokes
it.
That was good contact.
And that went pretty well. You dead, Shooter.
I'm in. I can't wait. I love it. I'll watch it with my kids. My kids love the original. It is so good. So good. Did you see the other one, just as an aside? Will Ferrell's new series. It's called Golf. It's a golf comedy. 10 episodes. It's a scripted series created by Will Ferrell, Rami Youssef, and Josh Rabinowitz. And it's going to be, he's going to play a fictional golf legend, Will Ferrell. So it's going to be great.
I'm all into golf content, that's for sure.
Me and you both.
That's Don't and Do this for a Thursday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, next segment, Dylan Cease. We went down to Petco Park yesterday, had a chance to sit down with Padres' new ace, and it was a good get-to-know-you kind of Ben and Woods conversation. We'll also play some Real or Fake, postponed from a few minutes ago, chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas. All coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. This hour on Ben Woods is brought to you by Prize Picks. Join the biggest moments in sports with Prize Picks. Pick your players, pick your stats, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. I did have a chance to go down to the clubhouse yesterday and then sit in the dugout for a few minutes with Padres pitcher Dylan Cease. We'll have our conversation with Dylan right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Well, it's not your imagination if you notice a lot more bicycles on the roads this morning, guys. Yeah, it is Bike Anywhere Day, so hopefully this will take a lot of cars off the roads. But just the same, whether you're driving or riding a bike, be extra careful, extra alert out there. Several problems we're dealing with right now. One of them is on the westbound King Freeway. Collision right before 25th Street. Unfortunately, this one is blocking the two right lanes. Southbound 163 at the South 5 connector ramp. We have reports of some large debris in that left lane. Also, traveling on eastbound 78 before Civic Center. There's a stalled pickup truck in middle lanes. Stop by into the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, for obvious reasons, we didn't get to talk to this guest during our week at spring training because he wasn't a member of the San Diego Padres at the time. So an official Ben & Woods welcome to Dylan Cease. It's great to have you on the show finally.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So how was that time for you, joining a team last minute? They're already on their way to that entire experience of moving from the White Sox to the Padres.
Yeah, it was logistically a little bit stressful, but it was exciting at the same time. And I knew the Padres had a ton of talent and was, from everything I heard, was a good organization. So once we got past the figuring out how to pack up and get to Korea and all that, it was pretty good.
I went to college in Chicago. I love that city. The South Side's amazing. White Sox fans are crazy. And now you get traded to San Diego, which is, I've been here 14 years. Also a pretty great place to live and play. What's been the most remarkable difference, I guess, about the two?
Well, I haven't had a ton of time to really explore San Diego, so I'm still kind of figuring out where everything is and what the spots are. I don't know. I don't know if I have a great answer for that, to be honest.
The crowds in Chicago dwindled a little bit, and then you come here, and the crowds have been bananas here at Petco, even like on a Tuesday night. Got to feel special when you take them out.
Yeah, absolutely. That much energy and that much, I guess, excitement and care really is, to me, very motivating.
You're obviously off to a fast start this season, and some people say Petco is a great pitcher's park. Others say this change of scenery is a good thing. What would you kind of attribute to the good start to your season this year?
Yeah, it's probably a couple things. I feel like I made a really good mechanical adjustment in spring training, and then have just kind of carried that. And then, pitching here doesn't help, and then having a great defense behind me doesn't help, and having a good pitching coach and good analytics and all that. It's all kind of goes together.
Ruben loves when we talk about him in interviews, so I'll give you a chance to speak highly of Ruben Niebla, who we love and is just the greatest guy. But how special is it working with him every day, and what has he helped you accomplish?
Yeah, it's great. I think it really only took a couple weeks to build that trust to where now when he says something, it's like, all right, let's work on this. So. He's always got really good information, and he's been awesome to work with.
I think that's interesting because you've obviously been working with pitching coaches your entire life, and what does it take? What kind of things does he have to say? You go like, oh, I can work with this guy.
Yeah, sometimes it could be something as simple as I don't feel like my slider's in a good spot, and he'll go, well, the data's good. Why don't you just try aiming it lower? And it's like, oh yeah, okay. It's like simple things like that where. Sometimes you can overthink it, or sometimes you can, think something and the numbers say something else. So it's just kind of keeping you on the right path.
I know the mental part of your game is something that you're very, very involved with, and I know in any level of baseball, if the brain gets going too fast, the body speeds up, the body slows down. What do you do specifically to help center you on the mound? And do you use apps and stuff and meditate and things like that?
I don't use any apps. There's a type of yoga called Isha yoga, and I do some of the practices from there. On the mound, I'm just performing and, in the moment. But, off the field, I definitely do some meditation, some visualization, some yoga stuff.
Well, they were talking about on the broadcast last night, there was a pitch or something where you actually put your hands down together, like you were reminding yourself on the mound to, yeah.
Well, I mean, sometimes, it's mostly when I don't get down the mound and I cut myself off and I'm just like, go.
Reminding yourself.
Yeah.
What do you make of the talk about the velocity and contributing to pitching injuries? Obviously, you're one of the high velo guys in the league. You have to see the guys who are around you, a lot of them having to go through that. What's your philosophy on that? Is it something that you worry about? Is there anything you can do about it, do you feel?
I mean, I don't really have a philosophy on it, and I don't worry about it because I don't want to live my life like that. I mean, yeah, it makes sense, more power, the more risk, but I guess it just is part of, comes with the territory.
I want to talk about some of your interests outside of baseball because I do find it fascinating. I know you did a sit-down with Mary Lou's. You talked about your love of disc golf. So, all right, the obvious question is, do you play real golf?
I haven't played a whole lot of real golf. I have before, but it's not something I ever really got into.
You're like one of the 4 pitchers maybe in the big leagues. It's not that's not like a +2 handicap.
I know. It's. I think I missed my window.
Disc golf is actually harder.
It is harder.
When we play at Goat Hill, we have our tournament coming up. They also have a disc golf course. I've tried it. It is really tough.
It's really
hard. Tough. It's a challenging sport. I mean, what's the key to good disc golf?
I haven't figured that out.
You own courses, but you haven't figured it out yet.
No, I'm on like I'm on the entrepreneur and just that side of it with my buddy Paul and all that right now. So I've never gotten good at disc golf. I'm better than somebody who's never played before. So if you saw me play, you'd be like, man, that guy's not bad. But if you actually knew, you would think I'm horrible, which I am.
So that's something. So, but the other thing, I mean, you clearly are a guy that just enjoys doing the things that you love to do without worrying about excelling at them all the time, other than pitching, right? Like this is something you enjoy. How about this love of painting? Now, I saw that you got into art. Are you into art? Or are you into making art?
I guess both. I like watching like YouTube documentaries on different artists and different paintings and like what was going on and the history behind it and this and that.
Who are some that are your favorites, artist-wise?
I like Joan Myro, Kandinsky. I just learned about him recently. He's great.
Have you seen Mark Rothko?
Oh yeah.
Oh, incredible.
I'm not the biggest fan of him.
Really? Oh man, it's like people go back and forth on him.
Well, I just feel like, and not to, who am I to say this? But to me, I just think I guess I like a little more flair, and his stuff is just it's colors, which is great, but not. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Feek one sold for like $80 million. So.
You're not quite there yet, but would you consider a purchase like that at some point?
Yes,
I mean,
a Rothko.
Not a bad sport to be in right now if you ever do want a nice art collection.
Yeah, I think $80 million will be out of the budget unless I'm able to acquire $1 billion company someday.
Now, what can we buy your painting for? Are you going to put yours up? What does a Cease original 2024 go for right now?
That's a good question. I've never sold one. I would definitely be down to do it, but I don't know. That's kind of like a trap question because I could say something.
Too high, too low.
I could say something. I can sound like a douchebag. It's like this guy's been painting for a year and he's gonna try to get $20,000 for his, So I don't know. Whatever. Maybe we'll send it to auction.
That'd be a good idea. That'd be a good idea. Well, we do a Christmas and holiday show. We'd be happy to auction it off for you to some family that needs a Cease hanging over their fireplace, man. Really appreciate the time today, Dylan. Great getting to know you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
So I'm not really a student of art, but if you don't know Mark Rothko, his paintings are generally just kind of rectangles of colors, and I don't get it either. But you would seem to be
I love him.
Into Mark Rothko.
He's unbelievable to me.
60s and, when he kind of his heyday of production. Yeah, his paintings can sell for tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, they spoke to me the first time I ever saw them, and which is weird to say.
Like this one that I'm looking at right now, orange, red, yellow.
Yeah, it's great.
How does it speak to you?
There's a vibrancy, and there's also the man himself was really what got me into it. Like I like tortured people. He was a tortured guy, and really kind of bled for his art. Does that make sense? And ultimately died for it, which is very, very strange. But I mean, black on gray is unreal. I mean, it's
so if he made the same
color.
painting, but he was kind of just like me and
I would hate it.
Well, adjusted and boring.
Yeah, if it was
you
a
wouldn't be
Higgins,
interested
correct.
in. There's orange, red, and yellow. It's sold for $86 million.
$86 million, man.
Jeez.
Which is nuts. We have this big blank space over our bed, and I want to get like a fake to hang it over my bed. It makes me feel good when I see it.
We don't have $86 million to give away. We do have potentially a trip to Las Vegas.
Well, that's
and
good.
some
You can win $86
concert
million.
tickets. If you'd like to play Real or Fake, give us a call right now, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Play our game in just a couple of minutes here. And then, of course, in our 8 o'clock hour, it's a super polished, yet-to-be-named Smart Baseball Thursday. Eno Sarris will be with us at 8:35. And then we've got the Roundel Report. We've got the Roundtable coming up at 10 o'clock today. So very busy day with Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. As people call in, let's get to it. And it's player game of Real or Fake.
Some are here for the compelling sports talk with Ben and Woods. You can go plow through another donut. It's time for Real or Fake on 97.3 The Fan. Tell the people what they'll win today.
All right, if you can get 4 out of 7 correct, you'll qualify for our grand prize drawing. 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. 2 tickets to Warrant, Lita Ford, and Paralandra on June 22nd. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. All right, everybody's calling in. Let's go to line number 1. Let's see. Jamie, is this Jamie?
Yes, it is.
Jamie, okay, congratulations. You're today's contestant on Real or Fake. Let's get right to it. Here's the game today. The NHL, Jamie Woods, is announcing its end-of-season awards this week. And they've always been the sport with the most unfamiliar award names, at least to me. Today on Real or Fake, I'll give you an award name. You tell me if it's a real NHL prize being given out this week or a fake, in this case, an award or trophy from another sport. Jamie, you ready to play? And Woods can help you out as well.
Maybe.
All right, we'll do it. Take it. Go ahead.
Round number 1, Real or Fake. The Haskins Award. Real or fake, Jamie?
NHL fake.
NHL fake. That is correct. That goes to the best college golfer every single year. All right, round number 2. The Bill Masterson Memorial Trophy. Real or fake NHL award. Jamie?
Real.
Ooh, he knows the stuff. Yeah.
Man knows his
Perseverance and dedication to hockey. All right, let's keep going.
I won that, actually.
You did?
Yeah, my
All right,
perseverance and dedication to hockey.
Round number 3, the Ted Hendricks Award. Real or fake NHL award, Jamie?
Fake.
Fake. Yeah, that goes to the best defensive lineman in college football. This is going to be a fairly
What are the
quick and
odds?
easy game. All right, let's go to round number 4 for the win. The Lee Matthews Trophy. Real or fake, Jamie?
Fake. Let's do all 7.
All right, let's do all 7. That's the Lee Matthews Trophy goes to the Aussie Rules Football MVP. All right, sounds like you're going to get them all. The Jack Adams Award, Jamie.
Real. For the best coach.
Coach of the Year. Yeah. Wow. The John Turnbull Award.
Fake.
Fake. Best college lacrosse attackman. And the King Clancy Memorial Trophy.
Real.
Yep, leadership. Wow, contributions off the ice.
I know you said your name is Jamie. Is this Mark Messier on the line right now? That was massively impressive. My
Jamie
friend.
Quick, goaltender.
Yeah, Jamie Quick.
Something. Yeah, there's.
Woo!
Congratulations, Jamie.
Is this umpire Jamie?
Of course it is.
Yeah, my buddy. Another one of the guys we play with in the chat says, "Guy knows hockey and the strike zone." It's good umpire.
Impressive.
One of
All right.
3 in the world.
Paulie will make sure your information is correct, and we will put you into the drawing for the grand prize. I think the first one this month for the grand prize getaway to Las
Really
Vegas.
impressive.
And that was one of the
So
most
good,
impressive
dude.
of any games we've ever played.
We don't talk a ton of hockey at all on this show, and we just get a hockey nut who knows every single
Didn't know
award.
any. Didn't need Woods. I didn't know. He didn't know what the category was going to be. Would you have? How would you have done? You didn't ask for any of your help.
Terribly. Terribly. I would have gotten like maybe 3.
You would have guessed.
Because 50-50 flip a coin. You should get 3 or 4 right just on random chance in real or fake.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jamie absolutely killed it in that game. Okay, well, we will come back. If you want to get back to some of the Padres discussion, there was a couple of questions in there to Mike Shildt about the fans booing at the game yesterday. There were also some comments in the clubhouse that were, I think, a little more understanding of the fans and how they felt about the Padres play this past series, so we can get into that. The second golf major of the year is underway. Got an update for you from the PGA Championship at Valhalla Golf Club in Kentucky. First round being played right now, so keep an eye on what's going on there. And then Eno Sarris will join us coming up at 8:35. So a busy 8 o'clock hour still ahead here on Ben and Woods. That is all coming up. Off day, Padres in Atlanta tomorrow to open a 4-game series against the Braves.
Former Padres prospect Max Fried toes the rubber.
Didn't he strike out like 12 or something his last time
Yeah, I
out?
think he almost threw a no-hitter.
Yeah. That's the kind of guy you need to face to get going,
Yeah.
get that offense going.
I love it.
All right, we'll come back with more Ben and Woods next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, halfway home on a Thursday, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Woodsy, that's Paul Reindl, executive producer, Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. And, I've been talking about Mike Shilt's presser a lot this morning, certainly. I missed it yesterday. I had to coach T-ball, got to coach T-ball, I should say. And it was a great game. The boys really battled. And
you got a very nice compliment on social media.
I did. It really brought tears to my eyes.
Tim Flannery called you a great coach.
I was not expecting that, and he said, you're a great coach. And to hear that from Tim Flannery, who is a great coach, like one of the best.
Multiple World Series ring-winning coach.
He's one of the most detail-oriented guys ever. And it's fun, man. Like, I coach Flan's grandson, Jesse, who I just adore. And I adore all the kids. But Jesse is like, he's a little bit smaller than everybody else, grinds. When he comes up to the plate, he does he's got like the look, like he's going to be a killer. And I mean that in a good way.
Killer. He's a little Flan.
A little Flan.
Yeah.
And the fun thing is Flan will come to games and stuff. And I've asked him 1,000 times, get your ass out here and help me teach these guys how to throw a ball. And he goes, nope. He goes, let me know when they're about 10. And once we start doing leadoffs and pickoffs, I got you. And I'm like, thank God, because that's the detail. Those are the details that you don't really think about when you're coaching T-ball. Go out, have fun, try to pay attention so you don't get smoked in the face. Make a throw, make a play, things like that. Hit the ball hard, all that stuff. That's easy.
Now, I know you're not planning on coaching deep into Bo's career.
Not super deep.
But if you did, I would like to see you make it long enough where maybe Flan could be your assistant. You can make him third base coach.
Well,
have him, get the windmill back out and start waving runners home.
Here's the thing. If Tim Flannery is on my staff, he's the head coach. I'm then the assistant coach, fungo hitter, ball collector.
Yeah, but Flan had his best success as the assistant, as the third base coach.
I understand that, but I'm also not an idiot.
Why would you take him out of that role?
I'm not an idiot. He will be, if he wants to. I'll do all the admin. All he has to do is show up like Elton John. Just show up. Here's the team, Flan, coach him. And then I'll pick up all the gear. I'll hit fungos.
Doug Gottlieb, Deion Sanders.
Just show up.
He can just show up game day and just be there.
You don't have to send out any admin emails. I'll talk to the parents. I'll do everything. But you teach them the game of baseball because you're a genius at the game of baseball. It was such a nice compliment, Benny. And I loved it. So I did miss the presser. I was so happy to miss the presser in the end of the game to get to go out and coach and be with my son and play ball with the kids. It was awesome. It's gonna be my last game of the year. I'll miss the very last game next year because I'll be out of town next week because I'll be out of town. And we're gonna let the moms coach. Moms are coaching the final T-ball game. And Hannah did not want to do it. Then the other moms got really excited, so now she's going to do it. So now you get to kind of put your money where your mouth is, because I get a lot of advice.
Do you think they'll have a different touch? Will it be...
Bo said to her, he goes, well, you're just going to tell us to do our best. And Hannah goes, isn't that what you want? And Bo's like, nah, not really. So the moms are going to coach next week. And again, because I get a lot of advice on, how to coach and stuff from a certain unnamed person. So I said, well... it's all yours. You've got the con. Next week, you get to take and herd these little cats. So it'll be fun, and hopefully they continue to play very well as they have all year. But it's been a blast. But I missed that press conference, and there's a couple of things, too, that people had kind of brought to my attention. Paul, you have the clips of it? Because I would like to go back and listen to the part about the booze and stuff. I saw a lot of people getting up in arms about booze.
Well, I did see quotes. Like, if you want to see a player who gets it, I understand Michael King had a bad start yesterday, but he clearly gets it. I mean, we saw that when we talked to him at spring training. You could just tell, sharp guy, he understands. And his quote yesterday was, we're fully deserving of it if we play that poorly. I continue to think we have some smart fans here, and they know when they are watching bad baseball. So we have to figure that out. I mean... whether you think that or not, that's a good fan service quote by the losing starting pitcher for that day who got booed along with the rest of his teammates. There's not a fan that can complain about what Michael King had to say. Xander Bogaerts, he said, 1-0 homer. I hear a boo already. We all want to play well. We all want to contribute. Play better. You don't like the boos? Play better. That's all I can say. Now, Xander has the experience of playing in Boston, where
King of New York.
I'm sure he's heard plenty of boos over his career. Maybe not directed at him necessarily. He was pretty good while he was there, but he's heard them before, and he certainly understands that they are part of the game.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
I know that Mike Shildt was asked about the boos. He didn't really address it, I thought.
He did a little bit.
Kind of.
But play the clip again.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, I expect to win every series, whether we just got through playing, Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars or, whoever we play. And I don't mean to be overly facetious, but,
Bingo.
a little levity maybe. But, yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, the sky's not falling in our clubhouse, I can tell you that. I appreciate and understand the questions. I think I've been able to explain and support, and, all I know is our clubhouse is in a good spot. The sky's not falling. We didn't appreciate, didn't enjoy, or disappointed all of the frustration that is real with losing because it's an end-game result. I get it. But I also appreciate the fact that our team's going in a good direction in a lot of areas, and we've just got to be able to put it together with our pitching and our hitting to be able to put together some more wins and more series wins like we've done more recently.
And Mike, I know you're hearing sky is falling questions from us here in the media, but when you hear the Boo Birds out there at a home game, which we heard more than once today, does that send a different message as opposed to just hearing it from us in here?
Yeah, it sends a message. I mean, listen, people show up and want to win. I get it. I'll answer for it. It's interesting how, a couple days, changes the complexity of how people react, and I get it. I mean, we're here to compete and win games, and ultimately I'm not going to alibi it. But you tell me, what do you think message they're sending me and us?
Not happy with the offense, not happy with the Rockies coming in as one of the worst teams in baseball and 3 straight games in a row.
Yeah, I get it. I understand it. I understand it completely.
All right, so I didn't hear anything about him. I think he understands why they boo. When he does say, what does that accomplish? I mean, he's been around the game 30 years. He knows exactly what it...
Well, we talked to Brett Boone yesterday.
Yeah.
It doesn't accomplish anything.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, but it is it's not a bad thing.
It
per
makes
se.
fans feel a little bit better. You can't do anything when you're in the stands. When you're frustrated, there's one thing you
Boo.
can do.
That's it. Yep.
And when you boo, it's basically to make yourself feel better. You can't possibly... Well, you can be delusional enough, but you shouldn't be delusional enough to think that your boos are going to suddenly turn around the team on the field. They're down 4-0, but if we just boo loud enough, they'll realize, oh, we must be doing something wrong. Let's fix it and play better.
I thought I was supposed to roll over there, but apparently
that doesn't happen. That does not happen. I don't feel like there's a lack of accountability in terms of players going, man, as long as they're not booing, I can get away with hitting, 185. But once they start booing, I better start hitting better. They all would like to hit better. They all go up to the plate. They would like to be more effective at the plate. The boos don't do anything at all other than, understandably, make us feel a little bit better as fans, because it's the only thing you can do when you're frustrated and you're sitting there in a game and it's going poorly.
Well, listen, though.
And you can't do anything else.
Listen, man, I think it's a bit dismissive of the fan base. Here's the thing. The fans really have 2 options. Here's their options. Don't show up. That's an option that you have. Just say, and if I'm a player...
Oftentimes the loudest statement you can make is with your wallet.
Correct. So here's the thing. If I'm a player and our team is not playing well, but the stands are packed and they're booing... I don't know that it doesn't do anything for me. I really don't. It's going to hurt. Sure. It's going to sting. Yeah. You'd rather have them booing and showing up than not showing up at all.
Undoubtedly.
No question about it. I would rather have people hate me as long as they listen. Put it on my tombstone. You may have hated me, but you listened. I don't care, really. I mean, I'm still going to do my show every day. And I know Xander and Manny and Toddy and all those guys are going to go out and try to do their jobs every day. When you are the only major league game in town for now, right? This is what comes with it, I think. And it hasn't really been the case. And people rag on us because, we're too easy on them. And I think the worst thing you can be as a fan is apathetic. Oh, fine. When I moved here in 10, a lot of apathy. $25 gets me in the ballpark, get a hot dog, have a beer, call it a day. Don't really care about the result. With expectations comes you need to perform. Expectations are good. The oldest saying that I love is pressure is a privilege. That's a massive privilege because so many teams don't have any pressure because they're not good. They're not expected to be good. They didn't spend any money. They didn't trade for superstars. The superstars of this team should be getting booed right now, and they should understand why they're getting booed, in my opinion. You know, they're not playing well. They make a ton of dough to do it. They have to lead on the field, off the field, whatever. It comes with the territory, you know? And so I do understand fans' frustration. I don't know that it's going to motivate someone, but it's the same argument we hear all the time about, well, the media is softer on them. The media is so soft on them. I don't want a player that needs to be motivated by media. I don't want a player that needs to be motivated by a fan base.
I really don't think any of them are. I don't think any of them sit there and I mean, is there a single player in the history of baseball who got better because someone asked a tough question in a press conference?
No, I don't think so.
Or a fan got mad and booed him while he was on the field. I mean, maybe there's a couple of guys who go, maybe I need to rethink some things.
Right.
It's been going really poorly, and this is the final straw, and I need to make some changes that are overdue that I maybe have been putting off.
Abraham makes a good point. Here's the thing. Some fans lose regardless. If you boo, you're called a fair weather fan. If you show up to support the team and boo, you're still called a fair weather fan. It's a tough one, but I do think it's okay for fans to voice their displeasure. I absolutely do. I would expect it. And if I'm Manny Machado, if I'm Xander Bogaerts, and I'm making a combined $60 million, and both of them have not great at all. Like I need to know that that's going to happen.
If you want the team to win, clearly the worst thing you can do as a fan is probably not show up and not watch.
Correct.
That's going to hurt the organization as a whole. There's no way that's going to help. So if you're showing up, you're doing your part as a fan. At that point, I think however you just want to watch the game is up to you. That's just up to you. I don't boo. I really don't. I don't boo opposing players. I don't boo home players. I just don't think it is worth my energy at the game to make that noise.
I
cheer,
a lot of
but
energy to
I cheer.
expend.
I was on from Friday night when Luis Arraez, the game winner. I was up and I was excited.
Imagine not live. Imagine not live streaming that for the rest of us.
I didn't know it was going to happen.
I know.
It was unpredictable.
It's I think
actually I was pretty sure it was going to happen. I felt like it was about to happen.
I think our fan base deserves better than a 10-16 record at home. Certainly, I do think that our fans are okay with losing if you left it all out there. Does anybody feel that they left it all out there the last 3 days? I don't, especially yesterday, bro. Just take the forfeit and get on the plane early. Get out and get rested in Atlanta. Seriously, like that's what's going to happen yesterday.
Didn't we have that discussion a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
If you could, just say, you know what, we're down 8-0. Boom, we're done.
We got
we're out.
We got no pitching left. Like
let's just go.
Let's regroup. Yeah, it sucks, dude. It really, really sucks. Yeah, I think fans should absolutely boo and show their displeasure. And all you ever hear it's funny too because all you ever hear lauded in baseball and football is those Philly fans and those they boo you and then they love you and they boo you and they love you and that's all you ever hear. Those are the fan bases that are lauded, correct? Mm-hmm. That's all you ever hear. Oh, be smart fans like the Boston fans. Be smart fans like the Yankee fans. Be smart fans like the Philly fans. Padres do it once, twice, 3 times in a series, and we're the worst people on the planet now. I don't think so.
I don't think the Padres are playing dumb baseball. They're just not playing good baseball.
Yeah. I didn't hear Manny's response, but I have a lot of people asking about it. I didn't hear it. I don't have that audio. So what did Manny say?
I didn't hear anything from Manny either. So if you heard something from Manny, go ahead and send it to us so we can react to it. But I did not hear or see any Manny Machado reaction video yesterday. Here's an update from the PGA Championship. First round is
Manny,
underway.
I have his quotes.
You do? Okay.
In the UT.
But about the booing?
About the booing. Yeah, he says, I feel like we're playing good baseball. Manny Machado said, we just didn't play good baseball this series. It's a 3-game series. It happens. That's baseball. Being on the lousy end of a 3-game, this is AC. A 3-game sweep dropped the Padres 2 games below 500. They walked from the field to the last of several choruses of boos heard throughout Wednesday's game and the series. Quote, we played bad baseball, Machado said. It's deserved. Machado later contended he did not mean the Padres played poorly. He says, we didn't play bad baseball. He said, we didn't execute at the end of the day.
There's a lot of, same with Mike Shildt. I mean, there's a lot of, parsing of the words there. What is bad baseball? Some people say
losing 3 in a row.
Some people will say bad baseball is
To the
when
Rockies.
you're like you don't understand how to play the game and you're playing bad baseball. You can play good baseball and lose.
Yeah,
you can play bad baseball and win.
You absolutely
that's
can play.
that's one of the weird things about the game, that you can play good baseball and oftentimes you don't end up winning. And you can play a bad game. You can commit 3 errors, 2 base running mistakes, but because your guys are just mashing it, there's just no way you can lose the game. Doesn't mean you played a good game. It means you were squaring up the baseball. Maybe the other pitcher had a really bad day. And that doesn't mean you're playing good baseball.
Oh, I guess he said he didn't hear the booze. It's very Manny. It's like, if you don't know that about Manny at this point, I don't know what to tell you. That's very him. I didn't hear it. What do we want? We just want accountability. We want to hear guys say we're terrible. We're going to turn it around. I think that's what most fans.
I thought that's what he said the other day.
I'm not going to speak for everyone.
In his long comments that he made, pretty open and going, yeah, I'm not where I want to be right now, and we're trying to get there. I think I will be there.
Yeah,
I'm not worried that I will eventually get there. I'll be where I'm supposed to be. And you can either choose to believe him or not. His track record says he will get there. But there's always the chance that he won't. If I'm Manny, I'm going to continue to believe that I will get there at some point.
Yeah, I mean, as a player of his caliber, you have to have that arrogance. You have to have it. They all need it. Xander needs to have it. Manny they have to have that arrogance. I think it's the only way they can get back to being the players that they were. Period. I don't think they can mope around and be sad. I think you have to have it.
The second you hear a guy say, I'm
screwed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Xander has actually said it this year.
Yeah,
And that's actually
why
a little more concerning.
More worried about Xander than I am about Manny.
That is more concerning to me than hearing, I didn't hear the booze. I'm just trying to execute up there. That is honestly more concerning to me. And when a guy says, I have no idea what I'm doing up there.
All right, I'll hold off on my PGA Championship update for a second. Get to the break.
You, everyone.
You're welcome. Eno Sarris coming up at the bottom of the hour. Stay tuned. More Ben and Woods coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Looky who's at the top of the leaderboard. PGA Championship first round, Valhalla Golf Club in Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville.
6 under through 11 holes. That is not an easy course either. It's a big, like Torrey Pines or Bethpage Black, really big, long course. Xander Schauffele, 6 under with a 2-shot lead over Tony Finau. Early, obviously, first round. Robert McIntyre at 3 under. And then you got a bunch of players at 2 under, including Jordan Spieth, Victor Hovland, Hideki Matsuyama. Rory McIlroy is at 1 under early in his round. And Tiger Woods is 1 over through about 11 holes, I believe, in his first round. Back on the course, getting limping around a little bit. Not easy for him to get around, but he wants to keep playing in the majors.
Like all of us, limping around and trying to figure it out.
48, just like the two of us.
That's right. Same age as Tiger Woods.
Same age as Tiger.
He's a little more accomplished.
I really hope Xander. He's playing some great golf. Obviously, Rory got him on Sunday last week at the Wells Fargo Championship. Had led that entire tournament. Now he's off to another hot start. Still looking for that first major. Shed the label of best player to have not won a major currently on the PGA Tour. He's ranked 4th in the world. Hasn't even won any tournament at all in almost 2 years.
Crazy to me.
Yet he finishes top 10.
All the time.
All the time. He's always there.
Yeah.
Just hasn't been able to finish it lately. It's probably starting to get a little bit.
It's got to stick
in his head a little bit.
It's got to get in your dome a little bit, man.
But off to a great start today at the PGA Championships. Got a 2-shot lead already over Tony Finau.
I look way short in the chat because my camera. Somebody said, "Is there no big boy chairs left for Woods?" BBW, by the way, your old pal BBW. Yeah, I got a great take that I saw on Twitter last night. I wish I could take credit for it. I'd like to discuss it after, maybe with Eno Sarris. It was a really, really good take about the San Diego Padres. Really good. Like blew my mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued about this.
Yeah, very good.
All right. Well, why don't we just get to it then? We'll take a little time out. When we come back, we'll get to our Smart Baseball Weekly segment with Eno Sarris, get his perspective on what's going on with the Friars and more. We'll get to that coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, thanks for hanging with us. Hopefully we saved enough time here. I want to have a good chat with Eno Sarris coming up. This hour of Ben and Woods brought to you by Prize Picks. Join the biggest moments in sports with Prize Picks. Pick your players, pick your stats, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Paulie is setting Eno up. We will get right out to him after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Tough Turtle Turf. Transform your lawn with toughturtleturf.com. Couple of problems here. One of them is this collision on northbound 15 past Friars Road. Got a couple cars involved in this one. It's in the center divide. Looks like tow truck is going to be needed there. Also collision on northbound 125 past Hamishaw. Those vehicles are over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Tough Turtle Turf is your go-to for all your landscaping needs. Transform your lawn with our lush, low-maintenance proprietary artificial turf. And add style and functionality with our durable pavers and stepping stones. And so much more. Transform your lawn with Tough Turtle Turf at toughturtleturf.com.
It's time for the super polished, yet to be named Smart Baseball Weekly segment with Eno Sarris, son of a bitch. Brought to you by 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from the ballpark by the bay in Chula Vista. Here's Eno Sarris with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
You know, baseball is often a confounding sport. It seems as though, Woods, for the Padres, though, the last few seasons especially, very little makes sense with your San Diego Padres, just from time to time. That's why when you get into the numbers, you try to throw out the smaller sample sizes and you look at the bigger picture. I'm not even sure the bigger picture numbers make that much sense for the San Diego Padres, and I wanted to ask Eno Sarris of The Athletic about it as he joins us here on 97.3 The Fan. How much is this just me being too close to it, Eno, and how much is it that the Padres don't necessarily always make a ton of sense, even by those longer-term numbers?
I don't know. I mean, in terms of runs scored and runs against.
Yeah, like last year they had the great run differential, but it didn't translate into wins necessarily. This year, again, positive run differential, record under 500 again. And those things that we're told even out over time have not evened out as much, I think, for the Padres as they do with other teams.
The run differential is pretty close to 0. It's 4 runs.
Nowadays, after yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, but the one thing that I have noticed watching this team is there's a little bit of feast and famine.
Yep.
And I think it's a little bit more on the runs allowed side, where they've had games where they just gave up 8 and 6. They've had 2, 3 double-digit games, plus some 9s and 8s in there. So and this flies in the face of what I thought that they, is more of a strength this year. I was happy that they got Randy Vasquez and Johnny Brito, and thought that, that Michael King was going to be an ace, and sometimes he looks like an ace.
Yep.
But the back end hasn't been exactly what I'd hoped for them. And so I wonder if, I don't know, I hate to be reactionary, but Robbie Snelling isn't quite doing exactly what he did last year, but if he has a couple of good starts in a row, I'd be considering him as a call-up.
Yeah, and Adam Mazur's another one that just got promoted to AAA, and he's got some pretty good stuff too as well. But what it boils down to for me with this team, and I saw a really good tweet from, I wish I had this. Shirtless Whitson is one of our guys on Twitter, and tweeted yesterday, crazy that our playoff aspirations rested on Profar on a 1-year $1 million deal, Merrill, a rookie center, moving position center fielder, and Cronenworth being good, and they've been effing great, and it doesn't even matter. Doesn't the Padres' struggles really boil down to their highest paid players offensively not performing and, doing offense well? That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I look at that and I go, the Dodgers aren't going to be anywhere right now if Mookie and Freddie and Will Smith and Ohtani aren't doing anything, because the bottom, I know they've come on a little bit recently, but their pitching can be suspect at times as well. If those guys aren't being stars, they're not going to win 105 games, and they still may not. You never know, but that's, for me, what it boils down to with this team.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I mean, other than the back end of the staff, I mean, one thing that I see here is Manny, Ha-Seong, and Xander combined under 100 WRC plus, meaning that under league average. They just had some bat speed numbers come out, and it's funny because Manny Machado's maximum exit velocity is down. He hasn't hit a ball as hard this year as he has in the past, down about 3 miles from last year almost. And that's what's correlated most highly with bat speed. We don't have bat speed numbers going back, but it's possible he's lost a little bat speed. That's the thing. Except he also has the best bat speed on the Padres still. And it's kind of something that we knew would come with Manny Machado as he got older. Aging comes for everyone. So it's not going to be like it fall off a cliff type stuff. So I think this got to be somewhat ramifications of the surgery and just getting back on track. I don't know. I don't doubt him that much. And I don't doubt Xander that much either because he's got such a great hit tool. I think he shows flashes of putting multi-hit games together, and I think he'll be fine too. And I think Kim he's best for his defense. And once the rest of the offense gets humming, I think he'll make his contributions. But I don't think actually he's actually pretty close to league average too, and that might be his true talent.
Eno Sarris from The Athletic is with us, and I want to talk about an issue that's popping up, and I think it was one of your competitors, one of our favorites, Jesse Rogers, did a piece on load management coming to baseball. We've heard about it in basketball, and one of the teams and people they talked to heavily in the piece was Mike Shildt, and how the Padres track like every sprint that a guy does during a game, whether it's a foul ball that he ran out or, you try to steal, but it's fouled off and you have to go back. All that movement goes into their equation on how much you've used a guy and when he needs rest and maximizing effectiveness. Have you seen any data in terms of, should guys be playing less? Should they be getting more time off than they're getting over the course of a 162-game season? And is this the wave of the future in baseball to follow what basketball has been doing?
I haven't seen that type of research for baseball yet, but I can tell you. I can't tell you from like back-to-back-to-backs for relievers. As just an example, that pitchers are much worse in the third of a back-to-back-to-back. Velo down, strikeouts down, results worse. And so that's kind of a corollary. But I've also seen in basketball, like Joel Embiid's numbers, when he's played like 2 or 3 straight games. Versus when he's had one off are pretty stark. And I would say that baseball has the most grueling schedule out of every sport. Not a lot of rest days baked in. Even, basketball and baseball and football have much more rest baked into their schedule. And so I think I know it's annoying as a fan, especially if you've traveled far to see somebody and he's not playing that game. But the nice thing about baseball too is you have 3-game series. So if you are traveling to see Tatis somewhere, then make sure you go to 2 games. I think it's not, they haven't done that yet, but in the future I expected more. And one thing that came out of my bat speed story this week was that as we chase bat speed more and more as an arms race, a little bit akin to pitching velocity. Hitters are turning faster and faster. We're seeing an increase in oblique injuries.
I saw that,
and Tristan Casas on the Red Sox said that the doctor told him it was like a car crash inside his body because he was turning so hard that when he was decelerating, he was ripping his cartilage out between his ribs. And so one of the things that hitters do when they're struggling is they hit the grind, and they swing and they swing and they go in the cage and they swing and they swing and they swing. And not every team tracks those swings. And I think that is leading a little bit to our rise in oblique injuries. If you were a pitcher, you would never throw 3 bullpens the day you start a game. But if you're a hitter and you're really struggling, you might take 100 swings on game day to try and get better.
It's so interesting to me too, yeah, because you always the old school baseball mentality is, hey, just get back there on the tee, get that toss going, work the machine, whatever you got to get that velo machine, and it reminds me of the great quote from John Kruk: "You can't pull fat, and you can't pull fat." I have never once had an oblique injury, never, and I probably never will. And I take a lot of cuts during the week. We're talking to our pal Eno Sarris from The Athletic here on Ben and Woods. I wanted to ask you, sticky stuff has reared its ugly head once again. Ronel Blanco from the Houston Astros got popped the other night. I know I saw them checking Yamamoto's glove in San Francisco. Is this still happening in baseball? Even Dallas Braden, who was the opposing play-by-play guy or the color guy in the A's game, said, I thought it was just sweat and rosin. But you did a deep dive onto the numbers of spin. Is this still happening in our beloved game?
I kind of don't think he was doing it. First of all, he's a changeup guy.
Yeah.
But I have heard that a lot of times the sticky stuff usage is for one pitch in particular. But I didn't see any change in spin on his breaking ball. So, either he's been doing it forever, so the baseline would be the same, or he wasn't doing it last night, in the same way that we think of when we think of cheating. And I think basically the high-end cheating, the spider tack where the ball's still attached to your finger, that's gone because the checks that spider tack is really hard to get off your finger after you put it on. I mean, that's like part of the deal. And so there's no way to put it on your finger, pitch for a little bit, and then get off your finger in time to have the check. But what I have heard is that a pitcher will, he'll get a ball sticky in the dugout while the hitter's hitting and while the hitters are hitting. He'll get his hand and a ball sticky, so that when he goes out to the field, he's a little sticky, but it goes away over the course of an inning. So, people are still doing little things, but I think the real aggressive cheating where you get 500 RPM on your pitches, I think that's gone.
There was some interesting Padres-related data. You mentioned the bat speed stuff that came out that you wrote about, including Luis Arraez having the slowest bat speed in baseball, but a lot of the guys with the slowest bat speed have good OPS numbers that make a lot of contact. And then the one that I found interesting, and maybe you can kind of explain this to our audience, the pitchers that get the slowest bat speeds, and the pitcher that sees the slowest bat speed in baseball was Robert Suarez. And I'm imagining it's because guys are trying to shorten up so much to hit the 100, but then they do that and they can't hit it anywhere. They just hit routine fly balls off of him, and it's been obviously incredibly effective, whatever he is doing this year.
Yeah, he is fascinating. One note about Arraez is he may have the slowest bat speed in the majors, but he also has the shortest swing in the majors. And so that works in his favor. It's just a real short, quick swing. So there is a relationship between swing length and swing speed that matters.
And Tatis but has like one of the longest ones, but also one of the hardest. So that, obviously power combination like doubled there when you do that.
Yeah, there's like a kind of a, the longer, faster swings have more power. They make contact out in front of the plate, which makes the swing longer. Like if you pull a ball, you're getting contact out in front of the plate. They measure bat speed and length at contact. So if Tatis is pulling the ball, then his swing is going to look longer and faster just by nature of where he's hitting the ball. So some of these stats need more context over time. I prefer kind of short. I prefer like quick and fast, like short swing and fast bat speed. That does kind of describe. Tatis is not 8 foot or 8.5 feet. That's Baez and Stanton. So he has a slightly longer than average swing, but not like really long. And Manny Machado actually has a shorter swing than Tatis, or actually maybe it's Machado's a little bit longer than average, Tatis a little bit shorter than average. They're okay because they have so much speed. But anyway, Suarez, the deal about Suarez is this: he throws high in the zone, and I think that's the ticket, because you have to, again, like contact point matters here. In order to get to a ball high in the zone, you have to have a shorter swing. Like you just think about just do a little fake batting, wherever you are in your office, and just try to get the bat to a high pitch. You basically just flip that bat around. If it's a low pitch, you can take a scoopier swing. You can get the bat has further to go, and so I think that's the big deal because Ryan Yarbrough is only a couple spots away from Suarez in terms of the pitchers that inspire the shortest, the slowest bats. And Ryan Yarbrough is nothing like Suarez in terms of velo, in terms of arsenal. But one thing he does have in common is he pitches high in the zone like Suarez. So I think
even if you throw slower like Yarbrough does, he's what, fastball, changeup guy mostly. He throws it. What does he throw? His changeup up. Cutter up. Yeah, up in the zone, I guess, is key for that. That's it. That's really interesting. The disparity between Robert Suarez and Ryan Yarbrough, both getting slow.
List.
Yeah, that's nuts, actually. Makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, the list of the slowest guys is all over the place. Joe Ryan is on there, but Joe Boyle is on there. I mean, Joe Boyle has no command, it's all gas, and Joe Ryan is doesn't have. I think he throws 93. Verlander's on the list. It's a really interesting group of pitchers. But the thing that they do, the top 20 in the slowest bat speeds go up in the zone 38% of the time. The league average is 31. So that was the biggest difference I found in that group.
Interesting numbers. Eno, always appreciate it. Have a good week. We'll talk to you again next Thursday.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, Eno Sarris, our Smart Baseball segment brought to you each week by 7 Mile Casino.
Do you have that list in front of you?
I don't have it in front of me at the moment.
Was Imanaga on there?
Of the slowest speeds
bats
against him? I don't think he was on there.
Because he was up. He
throws up, though, for sure.
McKee says in the chat, he throws up in the zone as well. Dylan Cease throws up in the zone as well, I noticed. But he's pretty... He can dot it kind of where he wants, but that's good stuff, man. It's really interesting. Yarbrough and Suarez, you couldn't get two different pitchers.
Did you read that piece by Jesse Rogers?
No.
About usage? Because there's a lot of Mike Shildt quotes in it, and they actually hand him a piece of paper every day. It's color coded, and they'll see which players are in the red. Wow, Tatis. He had 4 balls that he had to sprint, 40 yards in the outfield for, and he tried to steal second twice, even though it was fouled off. Every time they accelerate and do runs, it'll look at usage. Now, you could play a game. If you go 0 for 4 and you strike out looking twice and a ball is not hit to you, they'll go, he's pretty much in the green. He didn't do anything. He didn't work that hard that day on the field. And then there's a guy who may have worked their butt off, because the nature of baseball is you may be in the game, but you may not do much on a certain day.
Think about Jackson Merrill the other night. All the balls hit to him in center field. He's probably sliding towards
the
yellow.
The Padres are taking that into account when it comes to usage and who they think might need a day off.
What night was that? Was that what was the night he was running all around? Was that Monday night or was it Tuesday night? Because if it's Tuesday night, it kind of makes sense that he didn't play yesterday, because he was running around like a lunatic one of those games.
Now, the numbers are still so kind of new. Is it going to help him later on by resting him more after those stressful days?
Know.
We don't even know.
We don't know yet.
But the Padres are on the cutting edge, it sounds like, in looking at these numbers.
It's weird, too, because we always complain about the Padres being last to the table. Is this what we want? I'm really debating having an inner debate with myself.
Not sure, but they are tracking all movement on the field, whether or not it's part of the game or not, who is getting the most mileage put on their legs in any certain day. Fascinating stuff. We got another hour to go before the roundtable. Paul's got some headlines and the Roundel Report coming up. Don't go anywhere. More Ben and Woods next on 97.3 The Fan. The sky is not falling in the Padres clubhouse, which seems obvious because there is no sky in a Padres clubhouse. It's indoors. Correct?
Shilt's like, now, if you ask me if the roof is caving in.
We had a flood upstairs.
But technically, the sky is not falling.
And then we're still trying to figure out who the Bingo Walker All-Stars or whatever it is. I mean, he really takes homespun to a next level sometimes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, I expect to win every series, whether we just got through playing, Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars.
Bingo
or,
Long and the Traveling
All-Stars.
I'm going to look up.
Shout out to them.
Bingo.
I mean, I'm assuming this is some barnstorming team in North Carolina.
It's a movie.
That's a movie.
It's a 1976 American sports comedy film about a team of enterprising ex-Negro League baseball players in the era of racial segregation, loosely based upon William Brashler's 1973 novel. Billy D. Williams, James Earl Jones, and Richard Pryor. I'm in.
What sports movie we didn't know about?
Yeah, I'd never heard of it.
Billy D. Williams and Richard Pryor is in this movie?
And James Earl Jones.
And wow.
People will come, Bingo. Yeah, this looks awesome. Watch it.
James Earl Jones' other baseball movie.
I thought I knew every baseball movie. Apparently I did not. Bingo, Long, Traveling All-Stars, and Motor Kings. All right.
You learn something
Is
every
that
day.
Streaming on Netflix?
I have no idea. I've never heard of it.
We need to sign up for Hulu to get that one.
Produced by Barry Gordy of Motown fame. I mean, this is really checking all the boxes for me here.
Mike Shildt is always an educational experience, and I imagine we'll get more of an education tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock when we talk to the skipper. He won't be able to change anything about they'll still be on a 3-game losing streak when we talk to him tomorrow.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We'll wonder if he's had time to reflect on the 3 games in Colorado, or do you just leave it behind you? Do you just move on and get ready for Atlanta? I mean, we can't let him move on. We can't get Mike Shildt on and do a series preview with him.
Correct.
We can't do that. Sorry.
I'm also not expecting him to announce, we're making tons of changes. That's not who he is. That's not what he believes in.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I think, you can when you argue with me on Twitter or in the chat about the team, I'm down to listen to your opinion. When you start talking about lineup shifting, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I would be a tinkerer, I think, if I was, and probably to my detriment. But I do submit that they have more data. They do know more.
We just talked about the data. We have even no idea that they're looking at. He's looking at every day.
Correct. And that'll fine. That's a check mark in their favor.
And remember, he is a manager of the year. He has one of the highest winning percentages in baseball history as a Major League Baseball manager.
I can get behind that argument of switching some things around. I can. I don't know that you need, at this point, Manny Machado is a cleanup hitter. I just don't know. He's not doing the job that a cleanup hitter does. He's just not. And I think Manny knows that as well. But do you take a guy with 10 years of experience, that's has performed in that position and say, all right, you're our 6-hole guy? I don't know if you do, number one. And number two, I don't know if you don't do it because Manny would pitch a fit. I don't know that he would. I don't know that some of these guys care about where they hit and they want their numbers, but a lot of these guys have already been paid, and I think that has something to do with it. I think Juan Soto wanted to hit in a certain spot because he wants to get paid. He eventually doesn't have the big long-term deal. I don't know. I'm all about doing what's right for the team. And I just wonder how that convo would go. But when you talk to me about lineup shuffling and roster construction, yeah, I'll definitely listen.
Kiki in the chat says, kind of facetiously, but with some truth, if you knew what I knew in baseball, you'd understand. Mike Shildt. It sounds condescending, but that is a true statement. Mike Shildt knows way more about this than we do.
As much as we hate
Even
to
as
admit
savvy fans, I have to admit, Mike Shildt knows way more about this than I do.
He's forgotten more than
he's been in the weeds of it for decades now. He's not a guy who is turns his back on the new information, obviously. He's constantly looking at the data. He's constantly looking at his team and ways that they can perform better. It would be very ridiculously arrogant of either one of us to go in and try to tell Mike Shildt how to do his job. So when I talk to him, I'm simply trying to, understand where he's coming from.
Sure.
And his experience and why he's making decisions that he's making. I'm not saying that I know a better way. And as fans, I think you need to recognize that as well. As pointed out, Bomel was manager of the year. Yeah, Bomel knows a ton about baseball as well.
Yeah.
It didn't work out last year, though. And it won't work out for most of the teams in baseball this year. That's the nature of baseball.
Rafa says X did it. Why can't Manny do it? I don't know that he can't. I don't know that he can't, and nor do we know that he's unwilling. That's the thing, is you can assume whatever you want about any of these players, but until you're in there, I guess you don't really know. And I'm down to try new stuff. I'm down to get guys going, man. We really, really need to get those guys going. Adam says those accomplishments are in the past. I understand that as well. But track record in baseball really does speak loudest. And it gives a manager, I think, I've said it before on the show, you have to do things that justify saving your ass sometimes. And that's why the guy the other day that said you should have pinch hit Tyler Wade for Manny Machado. That's the kind of thing that costs you your job. That's a dumb move. You would never do that. Never. Nor should you. I said that to Tony Gwynn Jr. yesterday. He almost threw up. I'm not kidding. He put his head down between his legs. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's what I'm dealing with on Twitter. So I just think I'm down to mix things up a little bit. And he's not. Mike Shildt's not. He doesn't really like to mix things up that much. And that's okay. That's his team. It's not mine. So that's kind of where I stand on it.
All right, more conversation coming up in the roundtable. That's less than an hour away now, though. Let's get to some Rindle Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul. All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right. It's the Rindle Report, brought to you by the Frozen Ropes Summer Baseball League. The Frozen Ropes is now registering ball players age 6 through 12. Go to SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com for more information. Gentlemen, we're just talking about switching up the lineup and whether or not that's a good idea. Well, we have some lineup shuffling happening in Major League Baseball broadcasting. Saw this story yesterday. Our beloved Katie Wu on the story, of course.
Sweet angel.
Joe Buck going to be calling a baseball game here. I believe it is next Friday, the 24th. I think that's next Friday. So what they're doing is, Joe Buck, love him or hate him. I personally always enjoyed him calling baseball, especially.
You don't know what you have until it's gone.
100%.
And it's replaced by
true.
Joe Davis.
Yes, also true. I like Joe Buck just in general as a broadcaster. I like him.
Ball hit to the right field.
I think Joe Buck does fine on Monday Night Football if I am watching it, but I missed him on the baseball broadcast ever since he left Fox 100%. And went to ESPN. He no longer calls the World Series, and I don't know. He was solid. Broadcasters never really.
Joe Buck rules, dude.
Yes,
he rules.
So
when he was on our show, that was one of my favorite.
That was fun.
Conversations.
Me too.
That was
a lot
great.
of fun.
Get him again.
With him now at ESPN, it's weird. Being on ESPN, I would have thought maybe they would involve him on Sunday Night Baseball broadcasts, and maybe that still does happen down the road, but it hasn't happened yet. So his last game was the end of the 2021 season, the 2021 World Series. It was the last time he called baseball, and he's wanted to get back into it.
That is too long.
So next Friday night, he is going to be partnering up with Chip Carey on the Cubs-Cardinals
two legendary families.
So sick.
And
colliding.
the two of them, I believe Chip will handle play-by-play, but he's going to be joined in the booth by Joe Buck, and they're going to reminisce on growing up with Jack Buck and Harry Carey, and I think it's a really cool idea.
I love it. I'll be in Joshua Tree, so let me know how it goes.
We get some highlights and clips for you when we come back.
There'll be highlights, all right.
Yes, highlights. All right, next up, a little bit of a hot mic situation. We had one yesterday on
Yeah,
our
we did.
YouTube stream.
Talking about tacos.
Talking about tacos. Luckily, that was all we were talking about.
Fat asses in here.
So this was on an Apple TV MLS broadcast, and it says this was the Portland Timbers radio feed. You know, if you're watching the Apple TV like Padres game, you can watch their broadcasters,
Yes.
or you can sync up with the home or away radio feeds. I guess that's the same with the MLS broadcast on Apple TV. So this was the Portland Timbers. I don't know who the broadcasters are, but we did have a hot mic, and they started talking about the team and the head coach. And
Sussman here with the halftime show next. A busy action night around Major League Soccer. Get you updated on that and the thoughts of Aaron Heinsohn on the first 45 minutes.
Okay. He thinks they are throwing to the halftime show. And you can
My stomach
see
hurts, bro, already.
There's a play. They're showing, just kind of some B-roll of players coming off the field. He thinks they are gone. Commercial break.
Yep, they're
halftime
clear.
show. You got 15 minutes. Go grab something to
Yeah,
drink.
shoot the Shildt.
It's not what
On
happened.
the first 45 minutes.
Still hasn't gone to commercial
Okay.
break. Talk, Mr.
La, la,
Producer.
la, 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 la. Steven, you want to come coach this team? You want to come coach this team? Can't be any worse.
And now they go to break.
We would never say one thing on the air and then another thing
Never.
off the air.
No.
Never.
No self-respecting broadcaster ever does that. That happens a lot,
Remember when
actually.
Scan got Blake Snell?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Dude.
I get that people will go, oh, so you're just being dishonest when you're
No, you have to filter yourself.
on the air. But
Obviously.
there has to be some filtering that goes on.
Yeah, you think?
Can't just be constant unfiltered comments the whole time. You'd never have this job if all you did was spout unfiltered comments the entire time.
Yeah, it's called a podcast. You do it in your basement, and 42 people watch. That's
By the
it.
way, our unfiltered comments are probably unreasonable, just like yours are. At
Yeah,
home,
100%.
most of the time.
Yeah.
They're born of frustration and emotion, as that guy's probably was with the team.
Yep.
Probably just played a terrible half, and it's like, what do you do? Someone else come coach this team.
Can't be any
That was
worse.
tough to watch. I mean,
It's
we
Will-
all
it's-
do that.
It's Will Myers. Yeah, you want to come to this radio show? Couldn't be any worse. That's true, actually.
All right, and then finally, kind of a confusing story here. I've been trying to read through it. It's a lot of he said, she said, but the headline at least reads, Mega Millions winner sued by family for breaking promise to share $1.35 billion jackpot.
That is a lot of cash, number one. That's a very big jackpot.
Yeah, no kidding. So a
Wow.
guy
Wait,
in...
did you say breaking promise?
Yes, for breaking promise to share jackpot
It's like
with
a
his family.
pinky swear
Is
type
this a-
deal or what?
Is this a, hey, let's make a pact that if one of us wins the lotto, we all whack it up between us, or we'll give each other a taste.
So this guy in Maine, whose identity is unknown, he bought the winning ticket last January. $1.35 billion Mega Millions jackpot. Now, he took the lump sum. So he opened up an LLC, got a lump sum of just over $500 million. He didn't want the yearly payments. Did they spread that out? Do you know how long they spread that out over? Like
20 years, I
20
think.
years?
Yeah.
So
That's
he
the
took...
promise to nobody.
Right. Oh, yeah, you take the lump sum every time.
No, unless you're Shohei Ohtani, who definitely takes the deferred payments on
Fair
the
enough.
lotto.
You know
win.
what? Just give me a nickel, and then in 20 years, give me $700 billion. Thank you.
He's been in a legal battle with his
30 years.
daughter's mother, so I guess
His ex-wife.
Ex-girlfriend, baby mama. And he accused her of violating a non-disclosure agreement by telling the rest of his family about the fortune before their daughter's 18th birthday, which is in 8 years, so she's 10 years old.
Did they not want the daughter to know that she was going to be rich, so she'd still study in
She'll
school
still work
and
hard?
stuff?
Yeah.
It gets
Yeah.
weird where she's claiming that he told the whole family about it and not them, and the dad is like, well, he told us he won some money, but he didn't tell us anything else. And she goes, no, like he told you he was going to pay off all your debts and he was going to buy all this new stuff and he was going to put a trust fund together and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And
oh boy.
Now it's,
If it's not in writing, it's not legal.
That's true. But an NDA sounds like it was in writing.
That's true.
If you sign a non-disclosure, you can't just go and spout off that he won a bunch of money. I don't know, man.
do you ever play that out in your head? Like when we get these giant lottery jackpots,
yeah.
like if I won, like what's the first thing you do? Like you have to, who do you call? Who do you trust with that money? Like,
I mean, like a lawyer or an accountant
How
or
do you
something,
pick the
but
right
then how do you
lawyer?
pick the right
guy.
one? Yeah.
that stuff kind of domes me out. Not that I don't really play the lottery.
I don't really
at all.
either. Hannah does. Every
That's
now
what
and
my
then.
buddy Scott's for. He's good with
Yeah.
money and everything. It's
I'd
like he's
probably
probably my
call him.
first.
I'd probably
He's
call
probably
him
my
too.
first call.
Hey, Scott, it's Woodsy. Don't tell Ben.
Yeah.
But I just won a huge amount of money.
Hey,
Don't tell Ben.
Ben, can I get Scott's number?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not.
It's a
no,
golf
no big
thing.
deal,
I
no
got
big deal.
a swing problem. It's interesting stuff. Thank you, Paulie. Oh, before the Rondo Report ends, I want to give a birthday shout out to our beloved Jack Taylor, whose birthday
Jackie.
is today. Jackie, if you guys have ever listened to this program, he was the voice of Jacksaw, very talented individual, and it's his birthday today. He actually texted me. He goes, "I know I'm not dead, but I would like a shout out to his family on his birthday."
React to me.
And I said, "Well, yeah, man, it's our show. We can do whatever we want." So, Jack, happy birthday. Please live a lot longer and don't die.
And I really hope we can see more.
Hopefully, we don't have to do this for
and
Jack.
more
For real.
peace when already things are so difficult. So, shout out to his family.
But he's not dead.
He's not dead.
Not
Happy
dead,
birthday.
just
We
to
love
be
you very
clear.
much.
Speaking of throwbacks on our show, does everyone? Well, everyone remembers Padres fans Franmil Reyes, but do you remember Franmil? That'll be coming up next in our Throwback Thursday segment after a check traffic.
Old bit.
Throwback on 97.3 The Fan. I don't think anyone realizes how very lost we were when we first started as a show. Like how little idea we had of what we wanted to totally do. Like Woods, you were trying to be like just standard sports guy.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
I will say, I think maybe you could rephrase that a little bit differently because I will give Woods all the credit here. He had the vision.
I did have a vision
of what the show would sound like, but we did not execute at all for probably about a year.
Yeah, it was a rough
However, there were...
Which is totally normal.
There were moments where we tried to push it out a little bit.
Yeah, mix it up a little.
This Throwback Thursday that we're going to play for you is going to seem very quaint, I think.
It's a good word. I hate hearing it because it's my voice, but I love it. I loved it when we did it.
This is quaint. It was, like Paul said, maybe first month and a half of Ben and Woods.
We started at the end of March, and it was May 15th of that year, so 5-6 weeks?
Early 2018.
6 weeks, wow.
Early 2018, and one of the Padres' surprise stars early in that season was Franmil Reyes, who, undoubtedly captivated a long-suffering fan base with his smile and positivity and a couple of exciting moments and power threat. So everyone in San Diego
excited about him.
Was excited and talking about Franmil Reyes. So what do? Well, you try to come up with an idea that capitalizes. There's Franmil.
Good God, dude.
Now I miss the guy even more.
Good Lord. Fantastic.
It was a thing.
Is he playing in Japan right now, I think?
I don't know where he's at.
2018. I don't think he's in Major League Baseball. Wouldn't surprise me if he was in Japan. But I missed the guy. So, given the context that Franmil was a hot topic, we decided to...
Nippon Ham Fighters.
Yeah. We decided to just to run with it. And, it's obviously kind of the... just the way his first name sounds. You don't hear a lot of Franmils out there, and this is what we came up with.
This was a kooky idea at the time. I mean, this was something that you might expect from us now, 6 years in, but this was not something that you heard, at least on the station that we were on. Nobody would do stuff like this.
No.
Voices and bits, and this was, it's gonna sound like a commercial that we put in the commercial breaks that morning. We didn't ever address it. We never talked about it. We didn't tease it or set it up. We just picked a commercial break and threw it in there to see who would pick up on it and how it would go over. This was Franmil.
Grandma, we're hungry.
We're all hungry, my little darlings. Hungry for a winner. We've been force-fed subpar slop for so long it feels good to be excited again. Franmil, imported from the Dominican Republic by way of El Paso. It's a fantastic alternative to so many of the things you've had to stomach in the past. Served exclusively at Petco Park, Franmil just might be the real deal. So grab a bowl, grab a spoon, and feast on Franmil.
Thanks, Grandma!
Franmil, it's fantastic.
So stupid.
Quaint, like I said.
Yeah.
I remember people were like, what the F did I just
So
hear?
good, dude. I love it. I need to write more fake commercials. I always had fun. Always had fun doing those.
Maybe we need someone just to start belting out Whitney Houston.
Still hungry for a winner, by the way. That was 6 years ago.
Still some subpar slop
Still
out
some
there
subpar
from time
slop
to time.
from time to time. Yeah.
It's definitely gotten a lot better in 6 years. but
It has.
There's always reminders of the past and where we were.
Yeah.
That we were literally in a place that Franmil Reyes looked like
the second
the
coming
next
of Christ
coming.
himself.
The big thing, the guy who was going to, future Hall of Famer Franmil Reyes.
Does every team have those guys that just come up for like 3 weeks and go on this like Jeremy Lin-esque run?
man.
I mean, we had Ryan Schimpf.
Yeah.
Christian Villanueva. Carlos Villanueva.
Christian Bethencourt.
I remember Villanueva had like some massive walk-offs or something. He was hitting bombs. Ryan Schimpf and Franmil, though, were like, where the hell did these guys come from?
It was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah, those little runs that you get on, you're like, this SOB could actually turn into something. Look at this. And then,
I mean, Fran Mills had himself a career. Ryan Schimpf sells insurance now.
He does, yeah.
Real estate.
Literally, I think I follow him, and I sometimes get tweets about some sort of insurance thing that could be going on.
That's a story that he gets to tell his family forever. Made it to the show and
dominated for a couple
weeks.
Didn't
really work out, but I went on a run.
Do any of them want to play for the Tier 1s? Because that would be a fun to get one of those guys in.
Look at Ryan Schimpf, Greg Garcia. Who else can we
sold.
Trevor Hoffman closed out some games.
It is wild hearing those old clips.
It's funny because the Fran Meal commercial voice is also Sister Jean.
Yeah.
That was even earlier.
Same voice.
That was earlier. Now he's in Japan fighting ham, is what he's doing. He's a ham fighter.
He's a fighter.
He's a fighter.
He plays for Nippon Ham.
Nippon Ham. That's the name of the city.
Nippon Ham is the name of the company that the team is named after. Remember, in Japan, they name their teams after companies. So the company that the team is named after is Nippon Ham. It would be like the Qualcomm Padres instead of the San Diego Padres.
Or the Petco Padres.
Or the Petco Padres if they named the team after a company. And the company
would fight a bunch of pigs.
I like
the
to
company is
envision
Nippon
them,
Ham.
I like to envision them actually fighting ham. Canned hams. Just beating,
not actual pigs.
They're not ham fighters.
No, they beat the S out of hams. they hit ham for batting practice. They take ground balls with ham.
Rocky hanging with meats,
ham.
and they're just punching
That's what
the
I like
ham.
to picture in my mind of being a ham fighter.
Yes.
I was going to make a crass joke. I bit my tongue, so I'm going to go to break.
Oh, I know what you're.
Yep, you know what I was going to say.
I know exactly where that was going.
We'll
Ben
come
has
back.
No idea.
He has no idea.
I'm not. But guess what? I'm
Not
in the
much of a
studio,
ham
so
fighter,
I get
is
to.
he?
No.
I get filled in during the breaks, which is fantastic. We'll come back. If you missed our conversation with Dylan Cease, we played it earlier in the show. We'll bring that back for a couple of minutes. Last thoughts on the Padres before we head to our roundtable at 10 o'clock. And I think
more thoughts on the Padres.
I think everybody but Tony Gwynn in studio today, so we're looking forward to that. It's all coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
The ham.
I don't want to spoil all the good roundtable stuff coming up. We just had an interesting conversation in the break that I might bring back up during the show. And that is, are the Padres a good team that plays bad about half the time, or are they a bad team that plays good about half the time? And obviously, more than one thing can be true on that statement, but it does feel like when they're playing well, they look like a good team.
Yeah, they do. I tend to lean towards a good team that plays badly sometimes. I really do. And certainly not. They don't play up to their capabilities, obviously. I mean, when you
are we just assuming they have more capabilities than they actually have?
No, I don't think we are.
Everybody who's gotten to the big leagues is capable of having some good games, get hits, home runs. There are very few that make it that can't say, I could do that. But like golf, it's all about the consistency. I can make a birdie on any hole I play.
That's what I read something about golf the other day that made me. It gives
and I am far from a professional golfer.
It gives you this delusions of grandeur in golf. You can put together a string of 3 holes, and your stupid mind starts to wonder, if I put in the work, if I really, really dedicated myself, could I become a scratch golfer? I'm at 13 now, but I just put together, I went birdie, birdie, par, which I've done.
Sure.
I've gone eagle, par, birdie, birdie. I thought
you're ready for the PGA Tour.
I'm literally ready for the Seniors Tour, but it gives you a delusions of grandeur. It really does. I think in baseball, it's a different game entirely. I saw that tweet pops up every now and then. This moron tweeted, he says, I could run into a home run in the big leagues. I could make a 3-pointer in the NBA. I'm going to tell you, you couldn't run into a home run in the big leagues. You couldn't. If you are listening now, you could not run into a home run in the big leagues unless Greg Vaughn is listening or something. I don't know. You have and you can, but you don't run into one as an amateur, like you run into a birdie on a golf course. You just don't. So I think in baseball, the track record is what you have to base it on. It's consistency over many years of performance.
But
and
I think in golf, what is like to be a top level golfer, you have to have consistency all the time.
Correct.
It's all pars and birdies. Sure, they all make bogeys, but if you made bogeys half the time, you're not a professional player. Now in baseball, you can not only not get a hit half the time, you can not get a hit 70% of the time, and you're still an all-star.
Sometimes,
and you're still an all-star.
But you hit 40 home runs. Yeah.
So you're never going to have that level of consistency to say, look at me, I go out, I get a hit 9 out of 10 times.
Right.
A golfer has to say that. They have to hit the shot they're trying to hit at least 9 out of 10 times to be a successful golfer. In baseball, you got to hit the ball about 3 out of 10 times the way you want to hit it to be a successful baseball player.
To be really good.
You're never going to be that consistent.
I had my 6-year-old last night had maybe his worst game of the year in his opinion. Popped one up, rolled one over, and then hit a missile. After the game, I go, "You good?" He goes, "I just had the worst game of my life." I go, "Buddy, you have no idea what's in store for you. If that's your worst game in T-ball, 1 for 3." I go, "Dude,
he hasn't even experienced his first strikeout yet.
The first time you get rung up by an ump that calls one at your shoe tops, one that you boot a ball that costs you the game." I said, "Pal, you got a lot of these to come. And take a 1 for 3 any day of the week. In your opinion, a 1 for 3, right? One ball that you scalded. And it's such a game of failure. So I do think the guys that can produce consistently, as Xander Bogaerts has, as Manny Machado has, those are the guys that I think I hate having to trust that it'll come around, but you really don't have an alternative other than trusting that it will come. And I hate it. Trust me. I want those guys to, bat 350 and, Xander hit 20 and Manny hit 40. And you have to trust because they've done it before. That's why Mike Shildt puts them in the 4-hole and 5-hole or whatever, because, it's a safe thing to do. You feel like they're going to bust out at any minute, but I don't know, man. That's why baseball is different. Because track record really does matter. It really does. And it's hard. That's why it's so hard for fans to grasp when their favorite player is struggling. I actually looked up some slumps the other day of the greatest players, and Trout had an 0 for 27. Jeter had an 0 for 32. We all know about Chris Davis. He wasn't in that caliber of players, but he was 0 for 54 or something. It's just a brutal game. Jose Abreu got sent down, this year. He was batting below 100. There's a lot of guys hovering around the Mendoza line right now that are good players.
And the other big question is, can you get out of a slump by not playing?
Correct. You can't.
I mean, if you sat a guy for 3 days, there's no magic cure there either. That, okay, well, but on the fourth day, he's going to come back and he's going to play every day again. Why would you think that guy's going to be better? I think the general thinking around baseball is you got to play your way out of
That's exactly right.
slumps. You got to hit your way out of them.
And it sucks, dude. And believe me, it sucks for Xander. It sucks for Manny,
If you want Manny to get out of a slump, which I think we all do, you want him to be in the lineup because he's not getting out of the slump the day he's sitting. There's not. Maybe you're giving yourself a better chance to win if Manny was going to go 0 for 4 and you could put in Tyler Wade at third and he goes 1 for 4. Technically, that gives you a better chance to win. But what gives you a better chance to have a successful season is for Manny to get hot and get going. And the only way that's going to happen is if he's playing. So I think that's a big part of the equation for Mike Shildt. He's looking big picture there. Yes, playing slumping guys doesn't help you win the game that day, but it might help you win a lot of games down the road if they get going. And you have to wear it for a while when a guy's in a slump, and you can't just immediately say, well, until I see a really good batting cage session, you're sitting the pine for now. No, he's going to be out there almost every day. You can give him a day off, sure. But he's going to be out there, as will Xander, even though they're struggling, because that's the only way to get them going.
It is, and it's tough. It's tough.
This hour of Ben Woods is brought to you by Prize Picks. Join the biggest moments in sports with Prize Picks. Pick your players, pick your stats, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. All right, Dylan Cease with Ben and Woods when we went down yesterday before the game. We'll get to that right after our check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
Well, for obvious reasons, we didn't get to talk to this guest during our week at spring training because he wasn't a member of the San Diego Padres at the time. So an official Ben and Woods welcome to Dylan Cease. It's great to have you on the show finally.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So how was that time for you, joining a team last minute? They're already on their way to Korea by the time you get traded. Kind of just walk us through that entire experience of moving from the White Sox to the Padres.
Yeah, it was logistically a little bit stressful, but it was exciting at the same time, and I knew the Padres had a ton of talent and was, from everything I heard, was a good organization. So once we got past the figuring out how to pack up and get to Korea and all that, it was pretty good.
I went to college in Chicago. I love that city. The South Side's amazing. White Sox fans are crazy. And now you get traded to San Diego, which is, I've been here 14 years. Also a pretty great place to live and play. What's been the most remarkable difference, I guess, about the two?
Well, I haven't had a ton of time to really explore San Diego, so I'm still kind of figuring out where everything is and what the spots are. I don't know. I don't know if I have a great answer for that, to be honest.
The crowds in Chicago dwindled a little bit, and then you come here, and the crowds have been bananas here at Petco, even like on a Tuesday night. Got to feel special when you take them out.
Yeah, absolutely. That much energy and that much, I guess, excitement and care really is, to me, very motivating.
You're obviously off to a fast start this season, and some people say Petco is a great pitcher's park. Others say this change of scenery is a good thing. What would you kind of attribute to the good start to your season this year?
Yeah, it's probably a couple things. I feel like I made a really good mechanical adjustment in spring training, and then have just kind of carried that. And then, pitching here doesn't help, and then having a great defense behind me doesn't help, and having a good pitching coach and good analytics and all that. It's all kind of goes together.
Ruben loves when we talk about him in interviews, so I'll give you a chance to speak highly of Ruben Niebla, who we love and is just the greatest guy. But how special is it working with him every day, and what has he helped you accomplish?
Yeah, it's great. I think it really only took a couple weeks to build that trust to where now when he says something, it's like, all right, let's work on this. So He's always got really good information, and he's been awesome to work with.
I think that's interesting because you've obviously been working with pitching coaches your entire life, and like, what does it take? What kind of things does he have to say? You go like, oh, I can work with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it could be something as simple as like, I don't feel like my slider's in a good spot, and he'll go, well, the data's good. Why don't you just try aiming it lower? And it's like, oh yeah, okay. You know, it's like simple things like that where sometimes you can overthink it, or sometimes you can, think something and the numbers say something else. So it's just kind of keeping you on the right path.
I know the mental part of your game is something that you're very, very involved with, and I know in any level of baseball, if the brain gets going too fast, the body speeds up, the body slows down. What do you do specifically to help center you on the mound? And like, do you use apps and stuff and meditate and things like that?
I don't use any apps. There's a type of yoga called Isha yoga, and I do some of the practices from there. On the mound, I'm just performing and in the moment, but off the field I definitely do some meditation, some visualization, some yoga stuff.
Well, they were talking about on the broadcast last night, there was a pitch or something where you actually put your hands down together, like you were reminding yourself on the mound to
Well, I mean, sometimes it's mostly when I don't get down the mound and I cut myself off and I'm just like, go.
Reminding yourself.
Yeah.
What do you make of the talk about the velocity and contributing to pitching injuries? Obviously, you're one of the high velo guys in the league. You have to see the guys who are around you, a lot of them having to go through that. What's your philosophy on that? Is it something that you worry about? Is there anything you can do about it, do you feel?
I mean, I don't really have a philosophy on it, and I don't worry about it because I don't want to live my life like that. I mean, it makes sense. More power, the more risk, but I guess it just is part of, comes with the territory.
I want to talk about some of your interests outside of baseball because I do find it fascinating. I know you did a sit-down with Mary Lou's. You talked about your love of disc golf. So, all right, the obvious question is, do you play real golf?
I haven't played a whole lot of real golf. I have before, but it's not something I ever really got into.
You're like one of the 4 pitchers maybe in the big leagues. It's not that's not like a +2 handicap.
No, I know. It's I think I missed my window.
Disc golf is actually harder.
It is harder.
When we play at Goat Hill, we have our tournament coming up. They also have a disc golf course. I've tried it. It is really tough.
It's really
hard.
tough.
It's a challenging sport. I mean, what's the key to good disc golf?
I haven't figured that out.
You own courses, but you haven't figured it out yet.
No, I'm on like I'm on the entrepreneur and just that side of it with my buddy Paul and all that right now. So I've never gotten good at disc golf. I'm better than somebody who's never played before. So if you saw me play, you'd be like, man, that guy's not bad. But if you actually knew, you would think I'm horrible, which I am.
So that's something. So, but the other thing, I mean, you clearly are a guy that just enjoys doing the things that you love to do without worrying about excelling at them all the time, other than pitching, right? Like this is something you enjoy. How about this love of painting? Now, I saw that you got into art. Are you into art? Or are you into making art?
I guess both. I like watching like YouTube documentaries on different artists and different paintings and like what was going on and the history behind it and this and that.
Who are some that are your favorites, artist-wise?
I like Joan Myro, Kandinsky. I just learned about him recently. He's great.
Have you seen Mark Rothko?
Oh yeah.
Oh, incredible.
I'm not the biggest fan.
Really? Oh man, it's like people go back and forth on him.
Well, I just feel like, and not to, who am I to say this? But to me, I just think I guess I like a little more flair, and his stuff is just it's colors, which is great, but not. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Feek one sold for like $80 million. So.
You're not quite there yet, but would you consider a purchase like that at some point?
Yes,
Pitching's
a Rothko.
Not a bad sport to be in right now if you ever do want a nice art collection.
Yeah, I think $80 million will be out of the budget unless I'm able to acquire $1 billion company someday.
Now, what can we buy your painting for? Are you going to put yours up? What is a Cease original 2024 go for right now?
That's a good question. I've never sold one. I would definitely be down to do it, but I don't know. That's kind of like a trap question because I could say something.
Too high, too low.
I could say something. I can sound like a douchebag. It's like this guy's been painting for a year and he's going to try to get $20,000 for his, So I don't know. Whatever. Maybe we'll send it to auction.
That'd be a good idea. That'd be a good idea. Well, we do a Christmas and holiday show. We'd be happy to auction it off for you to some family that needs a cease hanging over their fireplace, man. Really appreciate the time today, Dylan. Great getting to know you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Dylan Cease, enjoyed that conversation. His next scheduled start is supposed to be on Monday at 9:20 a.m. against Chris Sale. So a good matchup to wrap up that series, which will be preempting a good chunk of our show on Monday morning when the Padres do their wraparound series against the Braves. I did hear there's some, Jesse talked about some potential weather in the forecast. I hope it's not on Monday, because the last thing I want is to have to do rain delay theater during our own show.
Oh, no, we would have to do that.
Probably.
Oh, God. The one day we get off early, Adam's like, actually,
it's raining. We're going to need you to stick around to take over after Sammy's done and do some rain delay theater. So I'm not sure exactly.
Monday's fine. According
Monday's
to this,
fine? Okay.
Yes. Friday and Saturday doesn't look great. Sunday and Monday look good.
Sunday's the Sunday night game, so if they wanted, they could do like a day-night doubleheader if they miss either of the games on Friday or Saturday. The Sunday night matchup is it could be Joe Musgrove. According to everybody, he came out well from his bullpen session. He's supposed to throw again, I think, tomorrow. And then if all goes well, Sunday could be his return, even if it's on a pitch count, which would probably be good to see him on Sunday Night Baseball.
No doubt.
All right, we'll talk more Padres coming up. The roundtable is next, commercial-free. Do not go anywhere. Great job, Paulie Reindl. Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. We'll talk to you tomorrow for the Friday edition of Ben and Woods. Coming up on 97.3 The Fan. Talk to you in a moment.